Looking down Mac Andrew on Jeremy Cameron. What an athletic battle that will be.
So all set for a start. Geelong take on the Gold Coast. Twilight Football, Super Saturday Live. Witts, Stanley rises above him. And the Cats get the first clearance inside 50 towards Dangerfield. Sweeping hand pass from Ewell and out towards the flank. Slippery conditions. The Suns in that bright pink jumper. Witts again at ground level. Rained a lot this morning and then 5 hours of sunshine and the rain again now.
Yeah, I think O'Connor has got that Anderson matchup. So not Mullen, it's the other Irishman, Mark O'Connor, who has been known for a shutdown role.
We pick up from Tom Hawkins. He's standing beside him right at the moment. Stanley again gets front position. Down towards Manor. Back to Stanley.
Just further to that, you understand what the Gold Coast Suns like to do, to bring a half forward up. So Touk Miller is that half forward. You speak about Mullen, who does he go with? Well, he's coming all the way up with Touk Miller. So they want to go one-on-one in and around the stoppages.
Breeze slightly favouring the end. The Cats are kicking too. Really dropped those since the rain started coming down heavily.
So this is the battle. If you look at both ends of the ground, both sides going one-on-one. All over the ground, so no numerical advantage anywhere.
Just joining us, Bailey Smith out with a hamstring issue. Was out on the ground, had a chat with the doctors pre-game, and he is out. So Closey comes in. Duncan is the sub. Ainsworth the sub for the Suns.
I expect the game to be a lot like this, especially early, Howie. Oh, we might be in trouble there. Yeah. A little bit unlucky, Reece Stanley.
So Fiorini to set off the wing. Noble provides a short lead. That's ignored. 40-metre ball down the line. Witts. Kings gets the fist. Miller dropped his head. Didn't get the free. Mullen applies the tackle. Witts does well to Noble. Had a great start to his career at the Suns. Now to Rao. He was warming up bare feet. On display earlier on. Stewart. One hand pass to Holmes. Forward by hand to Atkins, and the Cats start to build off half-back. The running man sends a ball towards Cameron. Mac Andrew, first time we've seen the contest. Andrew has done well. He's been held.
Yeah, he did really well there. Mac Andrews had that back space and protected it beautifully from Jeremy Cameron.
Levens brings it late in for Reed. Marioli on the back flank. Sends it for Humphrey, gets away from the man from Moe. Guthrie wobbles it down there. Out of flank. Collins tried to fist it and somehow marked it.
It just fell in his lap, didn't it? I even think that play from Geelong before off halfback probably shows you still can, at stages, handball your way through.
Collins towards centre wing. Front position was the impressive Connor O'Sullivan. A lot of ball in contest early, Hall.
Yeah, but I mean, but you certainly don't want to overdo the handball, but it just proves that you can still handball your way through. You don't have to particularly go to a really long kick mark game.
A ball on the ground early. Dempsey somehow to Manor. So I can see the ball go out on that outer wing here in Geelong. And there's Freedom's going away and route.
So I think even from a Geelong perspective here, you still need to cut off the switch. You still don't want the Gold Coast. This one looks like he's going down the line because the switch has been cut off.
Manor, clean. Sullivan breaks one tackle. Pokes it forward. Collins again with a fist. Atkins trying to keep the ball in. Well, he does, but he's absolutely mugged. And it's a good tackle over there by Closey. He already plastered on his head with the rain. Switches on to Lemons. Takes a bounce. They come towards him now. Long tracks it back. He's having an unbelievable year. King's the target. Long at ground level. Mullen tries to get away from Humphrey. There is Long. Henry. Walter applies a tackle. And the Cats work through it eventually to Guthrie. Rioli's in good position, but it's closer. A chance to repeat inside 50s.
He's not looking to come inside, so that suggests to the defender's top of the goal square.
Into King. Long. Now Flanders finding a bit of space. Slips it back to the top of the square. And it's all Stewart. Now. And now the Cats. Good subs at ground level. Stengel. Tough in the clinches early. Now close in the long sleeves. Sends it in side 50. Cameron tracks it back. Collins comes across.
And Sam Collins, terrific pressing defence. A great decision off Patrick Dangerfield, who was the deepest at the time, just to be able to get forward, take the ball out, take the body in Jeremy Cameron, and stop Geelong from getting an easy one over the top. Something he does extremely well.
Wits, two hands. And a Fiorini. Stengel applies the pressure. Atkins whips it out of congestion. Cameron trying to do something very, very fancy with no room to move. And the free kick's been paid.
I think they got away with one there, Geelong, in terms of the Gold Coast Suns not being able to clear the ball without having a designated ruckman. But it's just good forward pressure. You'd love to play with this man, Tommy Atkins.
Yeah, can tell. I mean, today it sets up beautifully for a player like Tom Atkins, tough in the clinches.
Goals will be valuable in the wet today. Atkins receives the free kick. Kicking about 35 out. Starts at a touch right, but holds its line, and the Cats get the opener.
As soon as you duck your head, the umpire sees that as a prior opportunity. So Atkins came in. There's nothing wrong with the tackle. So Roush, in future, if he's in that position again, stand up, try and find the tackle, get the ball to his boot. But they're like goal, that forward 50 pressure, tackle and goal. Great pressure on the opposition. Well, Tommy Stewart's already playing a nice little game at half-back, already a couple of intercept marks. And propelling that offensive transition.
Whistle in the middle. This time Rouse the recipient. Dishes by hand. Long ball forward from Joel Jeffrey. Inside 50. Coming back was Henry with courage. Humphrey tries to burst through. Leaves the footy behind. Swallow out to Holman. Bash forward by the Suns. Henry stays close to the line. Humphrey lets it go over.
Well, there's their surge game even from the contest. We saw the long kick come in from the CB free kick, which is something Gold Coast tend to do a lot. They're the number one long kick side in the competition, so expect to see a lot more of that today. Kick to contest and then look to surge the ball forward from there.
Nice crowd in at GMHBA. Selwood stand's got plenty of people in it. Out of the rain. Now the whistle, this time away the Cats.
Buffalo.
Neil. And short to Martin, who gets his first possession for the Cats. Great to see Jack there against his former side. He's come to the Cats from the Blues.
He started well, this man.
Yeah,
Sammy Collins.
And that's the worry with having Patrick Dangerfield out down there in the forward line who hunts the footy, is that Sam's so good at coming off and reading the football.
Myers, always clever with ball in hand. The running Dempsey. Close, he sees it. Out of bounds.
They're so strong defensively though, Hawk. I think it was only Riley Philthorpe who's got a hold of them this year with 5 or maybe 6. But there hasn't been too many others. They work so well as a group, led by Sam Collins. They've got great balance.
Solid tackle from Rao. High. Gives away a second free kick. That's deep entry inside 50. And Nick Collins, it looks like 3 of him out there at the moment, Geordie.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hawks said it before, so Paddy Dangerfield stays on the ground trying to rove that ball coming. That's a nice mark behind the play as well, but Sam Collins is flying for everything.
O'Sullivan pokes it back inside 50. Dangerfield gets an important hand on it. Here comes Cameron. Feigned a hand pass Myers. Always clever with ball in hand. He's a gun hitting targets inside 50. Amidst the congestion, he saw Blitzard. Hands it off to Humphries. 45 out. Sneaks just inside the post.
Beautiful vision from Brian Myers, a player that loves kicking goals himself as a small forward, but he is more than happy, or if not more happy, to drop them off to a teammate in a better position. Such great vision, such great feel as a player, plays the game a little bit uncharacteristically, the way he kicks the footy, but he's a very important player in this Geelong side.
He reminds me in some ways of your former premiership teammate Sam Mitchell, Geordie Myers. Just ability to manufacture something inside 50.
Oh, it's crazy vision. It really is. Sam Closey got a nice little lesson there. He's going back to the top of the goal square to try and help out, yet the forwards don't roll down. And Brian Myers finds an open.
So good at those little 20-metre inside 50 balls. Martin grabbed his head and tries to grab the shower and squirts out to Took Miller.
Yeah, any player that can kick around their body, Howie, is so hard to determine where the ball may go. It must be so nice as a forward, because you always know you're in the play. You just lead. You might not think that he's looking at you, but he's already seen where you're leading and where you might be going.
Gets down to his feet. Closey had a bit of it early. Miller, sack inside. And Martin's looking pretty comfortable down there.
Yeah, they're generating a spare now, the Cats. It was Martin on that occasion. It's been Stewart on occasions as well. So that is the challenge for the Gold Coast forwards.
Myers again. Look at that on the 45. Absolutely perfect to highlight our point. O'Connor tries to get it back to Martin, who started wonderfully well. Now Manor. They're pressing again here. The Cats, another clear kick. And there's the man in long sleeves again who takes the mark.
Yeah, beautifully protected in the marking contest by Shannon Neal. But for that man, Brian Myers, we saw it last week and was so influential. He was the top-rated player on the ground by the coaches. But the way he can get up the ground and just change angles and attacking a formation is just so important for this Geelong football team. Opens it up, gets it back through the middle and allows the chain to ultimately end up in Greg Close's hands.
Early concerns here for the Suns. Close, 9 goals for the season. It's under it, tight on the line. They come, and eventually it's fisted through. Didn't make the distance.
They just go. As soon as they mark that ball in D50, they are to the open side. So if you're prepared to give them a spare in defence, Geelong, well, you're going to be doing some running in between the arcs. So that's a coaching question. Do you equalise for the ball, or do you give Geelong what they want?
Bailey Smith on the bench, looking on, not playing today. Laid out with a hamstring issue. Dempsey squirts it inside to a dangerous area. Ewan, always good in a contest.
Just sat on Mannor's head, didn't it? Just needed to drop a little bit shorter, but here they go. Gold Coast now challenging on the open side.
It's a 5th disposal for Closey. Sam, his brother Ted, playing today. The opposition.
Geelong have 3 spares inside the D50, so that's why it's been slowed down.
Swallow down towards De Koning. They could have raffled it in the end. Stanley and De Koning spoiled each other.
It's actually a good result for the Gold Coast Suns. When you look at the numbers that were flooding back with Geelong, if that happened to fall into Geelong hands, they could transition to the open side again.
Snapped round the corner from Long. And again, the Cats have their defence to cover it. All Geelong in the early stages. Jack Martin up for 5th possession. Oh, clever hands. Dempsey Just saw Cameron running through, favours Andrew in the air, falls to a dangerous area. Lemons tries to take on Stanley. No try.
Great work rate from Reece Stanley to be able to get forward and impact and stop the ball at the source. We saw him on King down the other end only moments ago, defending on the last line. So great defensive work by Reece Stanley.
It was a really clever kick by Jeremy Cameron just to give it enough air because Mac Andrew was out the back. He couldn't kick it long. He was going to be first to it. So clever to just create the stoppage inside 50.
He sliced it down on the boundary alongside Tom Hawkins and Jordan Lewis. Super Saturday Live. Noble needs to be clean.
Because they always threaten in this particular part of the ground. You can just see they load up defensively and then they just get on the move straight towards goal.
Massive pack of players around the football.
In a funny sort of way, I think they're better suited to this, a little bit further away from goal, a little bit more space to work into. So you look at Stengel, Manor, just setting up and running through.
Every single player in the forward half at the moment for the Cats.
Beat stoppages are always a good thing. More time for the opposition to have a little bit of confusion and try and work them over from a Geelong point of view.
Connor and Anderson face off. Atkins, Noble has been pinned about 4 times in his defensive 50. Stanley looked for Cameron, didn't quite get there. Atkins bursts through the pack. And there's Closey. He gets Mac Andrews in a nasty area, especially in cold, wet conditions here in Geelong.
It's not what you want, Howie. Just building pressure here, Geelong. So if you're the Gold Coast Suns, you just need to stay alert. There's a lot going on off the ball. Blocks and deals, trying to create a bit of separation.
Stanley, clever tap, back to the corridor, Manor. Can't pick it up the first or second time.
You're spot on, Geordie. I mean, they've had so much success, but the movement around, so the players that are crossing over, both in that 3-metre perimeter from where the ball's being balled up, but then the players on the outside out of that are also on the move.
Players running in all directions. Rioli, caught from behind. Closey, little check side at the top of the square. The wall that is Sam Collins is still back there, though. So Matkins and Humphreys, the goal scorers so far for the Cats. King, long way from home. Miller, clean below his knees. Hand pass misses everywhere.
He's had 3 intercept marks already, Sam Collins, halfway through the first quarter. So he's reading the ball really well, understanding that there's always a decision to make. Is my direct opponent dangerous? If he's not, well, then I can impact other contests for the ball.
Mullen looks to be keeping a close eye on Miller. Yield back towards the corridor. Got a footy in congested space, so Connor done for a throw. Just a real flow early.
No, this will certainly break it open. I think the contest in the ruck means they can't get any clear hits, or certainly the contest at ground level. Because it's relatively even, it's really hard at the moment to get separation.
It's the first disposal of the match for Noah Anderson. Being checked early. Sweeping through is O'Sullivan to about 40 out. Lemons gets off Stengel, who arrives now. Noble, Rioli, Powell. Got a whistle, advantage paid on the outer side.
Certainly no advantage there.
What was the whistle for?
I think it was behind the play with Stengel and maybe Powell.
Didn't really favour the Suns.
No, I couldn't see any advantage there. That ball should have been called back.
Lightly throwing Mac Andrew, the 2 number 1s up against Stanley. O'Connor receives it from ruck contest, breaks 1 tackle. Off the instep forward. Through Powell. Lemons. Provides the Shepherd back to Powell. Lemons, no room to move in close. Dumps him across the line.
So I think, Howie, if you're talking how do you exit from stoppage, you're clearly not going to overuse by hand at the moment because of the conditions. But that kick right there, Tomahawk wouldn't have been happy with it, but that kick right there is really hard to clearly defend against, but it allows you to get numbers, create pressure, get a stoppage inside your forward half, that grubby kick forward.
Jeffrey takes a step back, then delivers it towards the wing. Stewart comes from behind with a fist. Holmes, clever little hand pass to Guthrie. Spins it back towards the attacking 50. Andrew, Ewell, and always straight lines of foot. He does well as Bodie. And then kicks it wide. There's again a whistle.
We'll have another stoppage. So, I mean, there is a lot of congestions, both sides sending up a half forward in and around the stoppage. So there's a lot of numbers and conditions certainly playing a part. Seven apiece in terms of the clearances, so no one really taking advantage of that.
Andrew, Holman, Flanders.
Great spread.
Swallow, just missed Miller. Rioli dashes onto it. He's got pressure coming from behind. From Myers. Guthrie, Holmes stands up in the tackle. Now gets a bit of space with O'Connor. Back to Myers with that little check kick. Rarely misses a target, did this time. Swallow accesses the outer side. Holland's got the overlap from Noble. Nothing coming towards John Noble, so he has to stop and prop. That's a good ball down now to King. Disappointed he didn't reel that one in.
Yeah, that was really clever by Noble. He just gave King enough time to work over his direct opponent into Coney. And that's just a mark you've got to take. Fumbled it initially, which allowed DeConey to come in and make the spoil.
Holmes hugs the line. Howe can't break the tackle. It's a good tackle too. Stengel gets his man, goes on with it, lets him know about it.
It's going to be 50, doesn't
It
it?
will be.
Yeah.
Stengel pushed him. They retaliated. It's an important 50.
Well, you asked about the free kick before, and it was Powell and Stengel off the ball, so well, maybe it's just a down the field free kick.
Back to close.
Did the umpire signal 50?
So didn't pay 50 in the end. Neil, Noble, Collins. Loses it to Stengel. Nice little spin. Looks for something inboard. Andrews awake and aware and tugs it across the line.
Already we can see there with Shannon Hill. We can see a little niggle between Powell and Stengel, which threatens to be a beautiful matchup today to watch. So watch that one closely. Be a bit of spice in that. But Shannon Hill forward, playing on Sam Collins. Just his aerial presence allows there to be more pressure on Sam Collins to get so he doesn't intercept the ball.
I don't know how many times the ball's gone out of bounds, Geordie, but just about had enough of it.
It seems like it's been over that side
Always.
a lot.
Always is
especially
here.
In congestion.
Wits, the path of Holman, burst out of his hands. So how are you instructed to play when you're playing for Geelong that outer side ball?
Well, I mean, I'll just touch on Geordie's point. Like, we talk about lots of stoppages, and yes, there has been, and the stoppage count clearance rate is actually pretty even, but the territory and being able to play the game consistently in your half, this is just going to continue to wear away at the Suns here.
Wits, for close out the football, lands in the lap of Neil. Myers one of the hand pass receiver, then goes to Guthrie now, back to Myers. Punches the hand pass out. In the path of Humphreys. Squeezes it forward. Andrews done well. Right on Jeremy Cameron as he needs to be. Bit of stepping from Humphreys. Pops into a dangerous area. Close! Brilliant effort. Did everything but bring it to ground. Suns under pressure. Powell stands up in the tackle. Clearing ball, Anderson. They live to fight the Suns, but only as far as Blitzards. Geelong always set up so well behind the ball here in Geelong.
Well, I think that's part of the ground dimensions that allows Geelong to be so good and so hard to play against here. They're always able to get that number one player back in Tom Stewart, sometimes Blitzarves, whether it be Jack Henry, to influence the contest, to win the ball back, and then they go out the open side so quickly like we've seen.
Inside 50s. Geelong +6, 13-7. Suns are hanging in there. The ruckmen go down.
Walk on your point with the +1. It's what makes it so difficult for the Suns in a game with these conditions when you don't want to overuse the handball, and sometimes you do need a surge kick, but that +1 makes it really difficult to keep forward half ascendancy.
So this is where you really need to try and explore the open side of the ground and challenge Geelong to defend the whole ground. Try and take some energy out of them by defending for long periods of time.
Sullivan doesn't complete the mark.
But this is okay. So yes, O'Sullivan should have taken that. But from a Gold Coast point of view, if you can take the ball to the open side and try and bypass the Geelong spare, then they've got less numbers at ground level. So when the mark does get spilled, at least you've got a chance to fight with even numbers.
Stanley places it down to Blitzarves.
Well read.
Collins again. Started beautifully. Got to be careful with Dangerfield. Look for the free, received it. Advantage paid into the hands of Myers. Always hits a target seemingly inside 50, and this time it's the big number 5.
Yeah, he almost brought Jezza onto that. That was beautiful vision. Often the type of kick that Grind gives you as a forward ahead of the ball for Geelong is when you're leading back, you don't necessarily know it's coming, but you turn. That's great synergy and obviously a lot of work between both ball carrier and forward, nutting it out at training, working out which way they move and how they step back and how they get at the footy.
18 goals in his last 3 matches for Jeremy Cameron. From just inside 50.
Well, that's just elite connection, isn't it? For a forward to lead into the corridor from a right footer that's facing out,
you certainly wouldn't be teaching 20 years ago Brian Myers type techniques, but you touched on it earlier. It actually allows him to do so many more things that other kickers don't have in their arsenal.
Howe tries to bite off a bit of territory in the middle of the ground. Didn't quite get the kick where he wanted it. Off the ground. Humphrey's dangerous character, steps around. He's powerful. Something for the Suns, needs the bounce. Doesn't get it.
So we keep saying, but that kick from Anderson. So don't bend down, pick it up. Don't allow Geelong to come in and apply the tackle or apply pressure. Just take territory. What Hawke has been saying is so important at this ground.
Centre wing ball. 35 throw-ins is the average in a game of AFL football. We've already had 17 in the first term. Manor on the 45, hangs it up for a while. Good contest, Swallow. Brought to ground. Anderson, unusual little kick, but it works. To the wonderfully named Leo Lombard. Powerfully built young man.
It's just not the kick, is it?
Yeah, it's not the kick, and it's also those around him. So if you can see that there's an outnumber and it's Tom Stewart, go and put a body on him so he can't go and influence the contest like that.
So what is the kick there on the wing, Geordie?
I think you've got to find a shorter one, or if you can find a handball receive to then try and get over that Tom. So Tom Stewart sets up about 50 to 60 metres from the kicker, so he can come back up to the ball and mark it. More short kicks, more handball receives in that instance.
Stanley, Blitzarves. Onto the hard-running Manor. Good 45-degree ball. Dangerfield threatened a couple of times. Collins is doing a massive job. Needs to be as well. Powell streaks through the middle of the Cattery. Sends it deep. Holmes. Reversed it.
Yeah, right.
Long free kick in the back, I think.
Geelong flood numbers back. On too far out. Unless he can get around. Man on the mark.
Yeah, you're on high alert if you're Geelong.
Likes to pop it up. Looks for the big mark. Stanley in good position. Enough from Walter to bring it to ground level. He was behind but got a fist onto it.
Yeah, it was a great contest by Jed Walter. Geordie touched again on it, but Gold Coast had the opportunity to use the arc and try and draw those 2+1 Geelong defenders out in Stanley and Tom Stewart.
There is Tom Stewart, the number 44. Into vacant areas. Mac Andrew casually drives it forward. Not sure if he was looking for 7 Holland or 19 Humphrey, and neither. I see a bit of Jed Walter in you. I see a comparison with a young Tom Hawkins. Big man finding his areas.
He can jump a bit higher than me, Howie.
Okay. Maybe not when you were 19, Hawk. Rioli out the back, didn't cover the distance well. It was an arm wrestle. The Cats got a couple early, and then it was just tight, contested and congested. Quarter time here at the Cattery. The home side lead at 2-2-14 to the visitors. 2 behinds. It's wet, it's cold, and it's tight. Super Saturday.
All right, folks, welcome in everybody to this big game down here at GMHBA Stadium. Of course, it's the Geelong Cats taking on the Gold Coast Suns, and it's the Cats at quarter time, 2-2-14, leading the Gold Coast Suns, just the 2 behinds, 2 points. Of course, well, the ball living down the forward half of Geelong most of that term. Of course, this Gold Coast Suns had a little bit of an opportunity in that final minute of the game, but could not capitalise there. Geelong seemed to be handling the wet weather ball, this wet weather game, a little bit better than the Gold Coast Suns. Of course, the Gold Coast Suns normally up there on the sunny Queensland, where they don't cop much rain, and it's beautiful weather, dry weather football. Adrian Sports Channel, Shouty, pass away now. Tine's in the chat, the manager, good stuff. Surfia, how you going? The gamer, well done. Thanks for coming in. Well, what's going on, Eddie G? I tell you what, it's a good game here. Even Dangerfield's been well held in this opening term. We've got a ring-a-ding-ding game on. It's a real arm wrestle in the opening term. I'm sure things will start to open up not too far away for both of these sides, but who's going to win this game? Well, that's a good question, because I leave that up to the live chat. What do we got? 82% so far saying the Geelong Cats to win over the Gold Coast. Being said, Geelong do seem to be in a little bit more control of this game out there today. Let's see if they can continue that way, or the Suns get back into it. I know the Suns a little bit troublesome in the wet weather. There's a little bit of rain down there at Geelong. It's probably only about 9 or 10 degrees down there at Geelong, a bit of rain. Slippery ball out there, as I said, Geelong handling it a little bit better. Hey, just before I go any further, let's just have a look where these two teams sit on the ladder. Gold Coast Suns, they've played 11 games, 8-3. Geelong, they've played 12, 8-4. Round 13, we're at right now. Of course, if Geelong win this game, they'll jump up to 4th. If Gold Coast win, they will stay in 4th position. That's the live ladder at the moment. 125, they've both got the same percentage. Geelong Cats will go a game clear if they happen to win. Hey, just before we go any further, let's have a look at the ins and outs, because we didn't get to do them, Eddie. We didn't get to do them before it started. Big in, look at this. Paddy Dangerfield comes into the side today for the Cats with Jack Martin going out. Oliver Henry, Bailey Smith, 2 monster outs going out for Geelong. Wow, we'll tell you what, they've got a plethora of talent at Geelong. The new player, Jack Martin, of course, the sub is Mitch Duncan for the Cats. For the Gold Coast Suns, Sean Lemons coming in. Ned Moyle is going out. Ben Ainsworth is the sub there for the Gold Coast Suns. Hey, let's just have a look at the goal scorers so far. Well, there's only been 2 so far, folks. Only been 2 in there for Geelong. Lawson Humphries and Tom Atkins. Not many goals yet. I think goals might be hard to come by today in this wet weather down there. But as I said, I expect it to open up a little bit more. Let's have a look at some of the stats. So I'll be interested to see Paddy Dangerfield because he's been quiet. I don't even know whether he might have had a handball. That's about it. Will Powell tops the table with 11 possessions, the only one in double digits. And he's for the Gold Coast, 7 kicks, 4 handballs, 4 marks, and a tackle. Graham Myers, Maxi Holmes, of course, always doing well, leading the way for the Cats. Tom Atkins, all on 9. Tom Stewart, 7. Johnny Noble, always pretty good for the Suns, on 7. Rioli on 6. Let's just roll on down a little bit. We'll see some of the main players, of course. Definitely a big out Bailey Smith for the Cats. They're certainly missing him today out there. There we go. Jared Witts, the big ruckman for the Suns, 3 disposals, 13 hitouts, 2 clearances. And Reece Stanley, 3 disposals, 10 hitouts, 1 clearance. So pretty tidy there on both. Pretty close between them two. McAndrew on 3 touches there for the Suns. Jeremy Cameron not yet hit the major. He just had the 2 disposals, 2 kicks. He's kicked 1 behind. And of course, Paddy Dangerfield, there he is. Just as we thought, been well held in the opening term, just the 1 disposal. And that was just a handball from him. All right. Well, Ben King also for the Gold Coast, their spearhead, has not touched the ball yet. So we're going to see what happens in the second term as we go back down to the ground. We're only just a moment away before the bounce of the ball for the second quarter. It's the Cats by 2 straight goals, 12 points. All right, folks, let's get back down to the ground with the footy action. And they'll be bouncing the ball for the second quarter in just a moment.
Which is Bailey Smith, was a late out with hamstring awareness. We see him up there watching his side on the Brownlow Fancy. So they'd love to have him out there today, but doing pretty well without him so far.
Yeah, Bailey Smith was a late out. So close he came in. Duncan is the sub and Ainsworth is the sub for the Gold Coast Suns. Have you seen Anderson so far?
Yeah, look, he hasn't set the world on fire. He's been well held, and Mark O'Connor's had a good influence himself, but as we know, he wears his opponents down over time.
Yeah, O'Connor started well. Anderson, 4 disposals, about the 8-minute mark when he got his first touch. And as the last quarter finished in tight, so the second term starts.
Probably get a little bit of help, I think, Noah Anderson. So Matt Rouse, the other midfielder. So the easiest thing you can do is go over and block, create a bit of separation. Great tap.
Holmes bursts clear. Right to the top of the square. But once again, it's Collins, Mr. Everywhere, who saves the day.
Where would they be without him? That's clearly going through as a goal. Desperate defence to try and get a finger in there, which he did. He's taken countless intercept marks. He has been outstanding tonight, Sam Collins.
Witts is floating across. It's Jed Walter, and quite complete the aerial work.
I think both sides just have to live with the fact that it will be a high stoppage game. It takes a high level of concentration just to buy into that too.
Against Reece Stanley in the ruck.
This is where we talk about trying to edge your way up with little kicks, little 45s. Certainly not happening on this occasion.
O'Connor, good hands, blitz arms, kicking under pressure as most have. Witts gathers it cleanly back to Power, measures it to the wing. That's a good fly. He's nearly into Ruby and the crew down there. And there's Robbie Mascara, the great Belvedere.
He'd never jump out of the road, Robbie.
If you're ever going to, it's when Jed Walter's coming at you.
I think Jed saw after bumping into Robbie Crew.
Well, let's not get too carried away, Ruby. Back inside 50. Free kick, and it's going the way of the Suns in the market contest. King will get his opportunity.
This will be his first disposal, Howie. Ben King. So he's been wrestling sort of 2v1s in the first quarter, so he got a good opportunity there to run and jump.
216 career goals for Ben. 32 this season. He's had a good year. Just need this, the Suns, to finish off some of their forward work. For about 48 out, Chorus of Booze hits it nicely, holds its line. Crowd gives him nothing, which means goal.
It might be his first disposal, Geordie, and that's probably what the key forwards at both ends of the ground are looking at. But if you can bring the ball to ground or get at the footy like Ben did there and draw a free kick, you're absolutely doing your job. So the ball's not going to come in pretty today and later on this afternoon. But if you can get yourself in positions to either win the ball or draw the free kick, you're playing your part.
Jeez, probably a lucky free kick in the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was quite there, Geordie.
I've seen worse, much worse. Good kick, good finish.
Now trying to burst his way clear. Stanley, Holmes, away from Rao. Out towards Dangerfield. Picks it up cleanly as the rain comes down as heavy as it has for the afternoon. Ball goes across the line. He was kicking to what you call the Gold Coast Suns cheer squad, but that might be an overstatement. But there is some committed Suns fans down there. That old mate's got his Gold Coast Sunnies on. I don't think he's going to
sure about those.
That's committed coming down here today. Wits, number one average for headouts in the league this season. Flanders, clever hand pass onto the powerful one from Moe. Humphries keeps it low. Would have been two in a minute.
Good recovery from Humphries. The give and go, get forward.
Something about him, Bailey Humphrey. Powerful looking player.
Yeah. Is that part of what Geelong? I'm just looking and watching Geelong. They want to get that kick in as quick as possible outside forward 50.
Guthrie towards centre wing. How did well to get a hand in to stop Stengel scooting out the back. McAndrew looks for the touch line. He doesn't get it. Good tackle.
Yeah. 1 arm free, that should be 50.
Oh, it's such a penalty on a day like today.
It's just not knowing the rules. McAndrew's got his hands out. So 95% of the players in the league would know that rule.
The team's just kicked a goal, Hawke. Just finally got some momentum. And now close to Wonga into 30 out. Pretty good finish. Gets the distance. Catch respond.
So from kick-ins, Geordie, they're going to look to take, Geelong always have, and they will continue under Chris Scott, is to take the free body if they can see it. So they love to clear the error. But from there, if they can just take ground by kick, and at times just be happy to take the contest. So take the contest wide. I mean, Stengel competes. Ultimately, there was no ruckman or key forward that was able to be there to bring the ball to ground, which Stengel had to do. But then from there, it's surge and look, they get a little bit lucky, a real disciplined free kick and 50 from Mac Andrews. But they'll try and mark and uncontest the ball, mark the ball where they can, but don't be.
Geelong led by 12 at quarter time, goal apiece, margin retained.
Well, he just made it. The kick from close. Would like to have seen a ruckman maybe on the line.
How's the rain down there, Roops?
Yeah, he's just rubbing it in.
Well, it just took me a while to get to my microphone under the tarp I'm wearing, so that'll tell you enough. It is definitely getting a little heavier down here.
Tough conditions at the Cattery. Manor in the ruck contest. In driving rain towards Dangerfield. Look out for the small men. Driving ball from defence.
It's a good win.
Really good win from Bailey Humphrey. Low puncher forward. Scoots through the hands of the Cat defenders. There's Martin. That's how wet and slippery it's got now. Another possession for Robbie and Ruby down there.
They haven't changed the way that they want to play at the moment. The Gold Coast with ball in hand, still wanting to go long to a contest that is favouring the Geelong Football Club behind the ball. Not getting any reward from it.
Holmes gives it straight to the Suns. Fiorini sends it forward. Killed.
So just watching the Henry King matchup. Looked like he's being held a lot more than he was when he was paid the free kick, Ben King, on that occasion. This is where they need to get on the move. So we've spoken about Geelong inside the forward 50. Try and set up a teammate. Try and block, get through.
Which looks for the corridor. Marlon spirals it out of defence. Andrew comes to ground. Does well at ground level, does Mac, but again, it's close that gets him.
Might seem like a simple win, but they're the wins that you love. To clear your defensive 50, get a stoppage on the wing, get a chance to reset.
Which grabs out of the ruck, spirals it forward. Long's caught behind. Closey. Deliberate kick towards the wing. And good win by Joel Jeffrey.
Jeremy Cameron. Yeah.
What happened, Geordie?
Well, you could hear through the umps, Mike. He was telling Jeremy Cameron to get out of the protected area. And I think he just didn't show enough urgency to get out. He was asked a couple of times.
He didn't show urgency. He didn't show anything, Jeremy.
Jeffrey tries to spot someone up inside. Long was the target. It's broken up. Back to Manor. Little step on the left. Into the crowd.
Yeah, so I think the Gold Coast Suns right now get an opportunity. So you really need to be thinking through the way you want to move the ball inside forward 50. So you can change the angles. You can try and draw the Geelong defence out. And if they can find another little one here.
Lemons are laid in. Ethan Reid laid out.
Not much movement forward of the ball.
Very static inside 50 for the Suns. Tough for the big boys to take a mark in that situation.
They are a long kick side, the Gold Coast, but you can't afford on nights like this when the ball's going to drop that little bit shorter due to the conditions. You can't be too far ahead. So you'd love to see Ben King just come maybe 40, 45 metres away from the kicker instead of being that 50, 55, 60 metres away.
Great view of everyone in one half of the ground. Humphrey tries to take on 1 too many tackles. Rao might have got one high. So the crowd were saying Humphrey had it too long, and then Rao got his head proverbially ripped off.
Yeah, you like to get a look because it looked like he ducked again. I may be wrong, but there's the 50. That's it.
And we said one, the catch was a big one. This will put him on the goal line. And Suns will kick their second. We'll have a look again in a moment. Rao pops it through.
Yeah, they're not happy, Howie. The Geelong faithful sitting in the stands. What you can say is he just attacks the ball, Matty Rao. So he's always active around stoppage.
Pretty legitimate, Geordie.
Marginal that one.
Crowd was certainly in agreement with you, Geordie.
Can this spark them? Their energy, the Gold Coast. Can they try and put a few on Geelong now off the back of that?
2 goals, 1 for the turn. Beautiful. Down to Anderson Miller. Best clearance passage we've seen all afternoon. Can Long finish it off? Coney comes out. Long still in the area with King. Henry applies the tackle. Long overruns it. Just saw the value of a centre clearance there. Mullen. And as far as Anderson. Little toe poke forward. Calls to Swallow. Walter. Couldn't hit Closey.
Yeah. Well done, my Ben Long. I mean, this is clinical. You don't get much cleaner than this. Look at that. Anderson to Miller. Straight out the front of the stoppage.
Martin stripped to the footy. Anderson, no real purchase. Myers scrambles out of defence towards Dempsey. Hewlin. Cody Hewlin playing game number 36 out of the Gold Coast Academy.
And Neil looks to be in a bit of strife. Looks like he's limping on his left ankle, Howie. Might have been from that ruck contest. Doctor's going out to him now.
We'll keep an eye on that. Manor, nice clean pickup. Now loses it in transition. Rioli gets away from the tackle. Can he create something by hand? Lemons, little step. Repeat inside 50s for the Suns. Walter flies from behind. Holman overruns it. Lombard, Myers, under all sorts of pressure, somehow finds a target in Atkins.
He didn't like anything that he saw up ahead. Right, this is what the Hawks talking about. Be prepared to be a little bit more patient. Go short to go long.
O'Connor down the line. Stanley just tried to tap it down towards close.
Shannon Neal heading down into the rooms with the doctor now after that injury there, as we see on screen.
Sore again. Turn inward. Wow tries to just pull his way through the contest. Rice had 13, Holmes 12, Powell 13, Noble 8. Great decisive meters gained so far. Henry on the switch. Humphries coming the other way is Closey though. He's a good runner, gets it on to Lombard. Good. Could have blazed away. Saw Long on the short.
Yeah, he had options everywhere there. He had Bailey Humphries at the top of the square. Ben King was floating back to the goal square as well, but beautiful patience. Beautiful execution in trying conditions. The rain is tumbling down here at GMHBA Stadium. So great poise by Lombard to find the inside 50 mark in Long.
Bit of everything there. Grew up playing for St Mary's, won a VFL premiership with the Dogs back in 2016. He's having his career best season. It's an important kick. It's a great finish. And the Suns square up.
Yeah, they're just starting to overwhelm the Cats here by stoppage wins and getting the ball forward and surging the football into their forward 50. So 10-3 inside 50s this quarter. They're getting that ascendancy and time in forward half, which is proving to be pivotal, making it hard for Geelong to be able to get the ball forward with any conviction. So a big tick to the way they've started this second quarter here by the Gold Coast Suns.
Well done by Leo Lombard. His father, Hector, went to the Sydney Olympics representing Cuba in the judoka back in the year 2000 and went on to MMA, so you can see where he gets that big build. Stanley's got a finger issue in the middle of the ground. Another clearance. Rao, deep ball forward. And we're watching Leo Lombard in the warm-up. Brought in. He's a big solid lad with big quads.
Yeah. Troy Stanley's just popped his finger back in himself. He's good to go again.
Andrew Stanley, Holman, Rao.
Yeah, they can ill afford to lose Stanley. We've already seen Shatter Neal go down to get his ankle looked at. They've got Mark Blitzarves there, but love the idea of using Mark on the wings and through the midfield at times.
Matt Rao's doing power work on the bottom of the packs.
Yeah, you feel like these conditions are built for Matt Rao.
And out at the start of the afternoon, bare feet, walked around the ground, looked like he just parked his combi on the beach. Top of the square. A couple of fists come towards it. O'Connor can't get through Flanders.
That's two bits of vision I think Damien Hardwick puts up on the whiteboard at half-time. The contest by King just to bring it down, and then a ferocious tackle inside forward 50. Lays a great platform for them to be able to get back in the game here.
Andrew trying to create something back towards the middle. Holmes ducked as he kicked it. Reduced the body by Jeffrey, got off close. Spins it back inside, 20 from home. It's out the back. Suns don't really have the representation. Henry, Guthrie, Closey, running out of room. Good tackling again.
It's good pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really good pressure. It seems like that part of their game, especially in the forward 50, the Suns have lifted in that area. Yeah, Geelong Doctor just keeps trying to get to Reece Stanley inside the defensive 50.
+9 inside 50s for the turn. The Suns 12-3. Closey just tries to clear the area. Doesn't really.
It's been clean, Jeffrey.
Yep.
Been really clean. Behind the ball.
And the Wanderers in the NT. High to the pocket. King nearly. Holmes again under pressure. And there's Jeffrey again, just harassing Close, who taps it forward. And it's against Close. Coach watches on. Another one for Joel Jeffrey.
Yeah, so I like that kick. If we go again here, yep, change the angle.
Bit of space, Mullen. Now Collins. Ooh, wobbles it inside. And it's Humphrey. Lawson Humphreys. We've got Lawson Humphreys and Bailey Humphrey.
That was ugly from Collins.
Inside in good position. Ewan behind with a fist and it squeezes out the back. Stengel needs runners to come towards him. That's why he waits, because the Suns had it well structured behind the ball. Close is being hit in all sorts of directions, and he finally gets a free.
Yeah. He gets a free here. Once again, you can just see the numbers flooding back inside forward 50.
Pelting down on the roof of the benches in front of us. Very wet now in Geelong. Almost impossible to take a mark in these conditions.
That's all you need to do if you're Reece Stanley. Make it predictable, make a contest, field the ball. And hope that the small forwards or the mids can predict where it's going.
Hopefully this rain is falling in the West Hawk for all the farmers crying out for it. Pouring down, old school wet weather footy at Geelong. Manor just tries to burrow his way through, off the ground. Any way you can gain metres, they're trying.
Just watching Jeremy Cameron, so he's trying to take Sam Collins into the stoppage to try and lose him, so somewhere where Collins isn't particularly comfortable.
Confident again, out of defence was Jeffrey. He's had a good quarter. Gets it out of defensive 50. Mullen loses the ball. Caught immediately by Holman. I think it could be those small moments today, Geordie and Hawk. The 50, a free kick inside 50.
Yeah, which usually on a dry day, footy weather-wise, they're not generally the sexy things, Howie, but they're certainly going to get it done here tonight.
Both teams have got a goal from a 50-metre in this turn. Leo Lombard.
I think the important thing is, Howie, not to get frustrated, because the game is on repeat. you can get frustrated in and around the stoppage. You can get lazy. You can give away free kicks. You can hold the jumper. You see there the doc just going to Reece Stanley in what was a finger issue. But he looks to be fine.
Rioli gets away from O'Connor now. Noble. Outside of the foot down towards Stewart.
Yeah, it had to be a front kick. Yeah. Well, it's Walter. So he just has to be a little bit patient and allow the Gold Coast numbers to go inside forward 50 and equalise. You can see there, De Koning is a spare.
Big Jed just pops it up into the pocket. Koning's in good position. It's against Humphrey.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. We're talking in and around the stoppages in terms of discipline, giving away free kicks. You really need to be strong mentally in conditions like this when the game is really repetitive.
Guthrie goes rather central. Off the chest of Rioli. Walter. Lemons. Opportunity for Jeffrey. He's had a great turn. Coleman stepping. Anderson. Can't get it on his boot in time. Great tackle, Myers.
Coleman left footer. He wanted to get to his left. He didn't have his right to use, so he came back into traffic. That's where that play fell undone.
To Coney. Which Duncan looks like he could be coming in for Shannon Neal with that ankle issue. Mansworth is the sub for the Suns.
That's 50 surely. This is where they can take ground here through Stewart. So this is where their numbers are on this side.
Stewart pulls the trigger on a 60-metre ball forward. Manor. Holmes uses his speed. He's tried to track it into the path of Mullins, who hasn't kicked an AFL goal. Noble sends it back the other way towards the wing. Atkins. Back to Manor. Got a man in the pocket. Close.
He's got the distance in him here, Brad Close, so for his old sparring partner Jeremy Cameron to open up maybe late.
And he just made the distance with his last snap. That was a goal.
Oh, he looks sore, too close.
He's been caught. This is a big tackle.
Yeah, he has.
Rinaldi with his hair plastered to his head. Rain started early on in the first term and it's really picked up in the second. There's Neo, it looks like he is done with that ankle.
It's interesting, just a change of structure forward of the ball. So Gold Coast going 6 forward of the ball, trying to empty out the stoppages.
Atkins, Blitzarf, round the body, straight to a Gold Coast Sun. Fiorini.
Yeah, so this is the chance. So now they can go forward to even numbers, so they can go with confidence.
Turns straight over there. Holmes
That doesn't help.
breaks the tackle, plays on, options inside 50. Could have gone by foot, goes by hand. Close, squeezes the ball. Stengel.
Tough kick.
Oh,
What do you reckon, Hawk? Has a shot?
Yeah, he does. He generally kicks the ball very straight, Tyson Stengel, so never gives them. It sounds silly to give the goals away, but some players like to move the ball in the air left to right or right to left, but he's generally a pretty straight, reliable, set shot kick at goal, Tyson Stengel.
all season at the Cattery, kicked 46 last year. Difficult kick in driving rain. Stengel hits it sweetly, hits it perfectly.
gets out the back. That's what all good small forwards do. Realise when you've won the ball, especially centre forward when the kick came from Powell, was a turnover. And then Holmes decided to go straight away. Realised Closey was on the ground to take advantage. Composed possession going inside forward 50. And he called it off. He knew as soon as that ball hit his foot, and it was going through. Goals have been really hard to come by so far in this game.
Cats by 12 at quarter time. Suns have kicked 3 goals to 2. 7-point margin. Now he's given away a couple and been awarded a couple. Doesn't waste time. And Stewart exactly where he's wanting the ball to be delivered.
Oh, it's just the same kick that we've been speaking about. So the Gold Coast Suns activate the 45s, activate that sort of 20, 30 metre kick.
Good use of the frame. And close. And good turn.
You can't just accept the fact that that kick is going to go long every time.
Up and under. Blitz halves. Andrew with the fist. Blitz halves. A rare mark. Contested is so valuable. Cameron, Dangerfield provided the body. And again it was Collins who arrived with an almighty crunch.
Yeah, he did everything he possibly could, Danger, to protect Jeremy Cameron. But just the competitor that Collins is, had to get body on Jeremy Cameron. Yeah, I've been in a perfect position there, Jez.
Rao pumps out defence. Walter takes a good mark on the chest in front of Connor O'Sullivan. They play on through Miller. 2 on 1 the way of the catch. Stewart. That's quality in these conditions. And again, those moments. Bailey Humphrey and Fringe coach not happy.
Because he's probably not instructing his players to play that way. I mean, Toot Miller goes for a handball receive. Great win by Jed Walter. But if you're going to receive the handball and continue the play,
Stewart's a danger too wide.
you've got to know what's ahead of the ball. And too often this quarter it's been a spare Geelong defender.
And it just can't be put on the head either, Jordan. You can bring the Suns player onto it or your teammate onto it or take the ball closer to the boundary where he can spoil it out over the line.
Not to the logo. Couple of attempts. Go begging. One man forward to the footy and it's King. Can he get around Henry? Henry does well. Does really well. And the ball's across the line.
He did very well ahead of the ball, King, but they had the opportunity there to keep chaining the ball inside forward 50. They had a vacant forward 50 to go to. Instead, he decided to kick to a one-on-one option in the pocket, 30 out. So probably wasn't the right execution.
Suns pressing. Rao. Having a big afternoon. Miller. Can't get through Manor. Off goes the way of Stanley. That's the distance. Under a minute to go. Cameron's wandered back into defence momentarily. Now he's on his bike and he's sprinting through the middle of the ground. Is Jeremy Cameron. He's still moving forward, Cameron. We get the fall of this contest now. Looking to sweep through. O'Connor has Anderson.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. The Cats, late in the second quarter, 30 seconds to go, to be able to get a forward 50. Don't be surprised if it's a repetitive forward 50 and then look to score on the second or third attempt. Jez's one out in the goal square on Andrews with plenty of space.
One disposal so far for Paddy Dangerfield. Hewland to grass. Haven't beaten Geelong down here in 7 attempts, the Gold Coast Suns. Average losing margin 72 points. Haven't been here for a long time either, 4 years, but they have won the last 2 games they've played, the Suns. Holmes' last chance. Whistle, and he's going the way of the Suns. And that'll be it. It's tight, it's wet, and it's hard. Geelong led by 12 points at quarter time. The Suns kicked 3 goals to 2 to narrow it to a 7-point margin. The Cats 4-4-28 in tough conditions. The Suns 3-3-21. Geelong half time at home by 7 points.
All right, folks, there we go. Half time here at the Cattery. Of course, the Cats leading the way. 4-4-28 over the Suns. 3-3-21, as they said. Gold Coast Suns. 3 goals, 1 in that second term. The Cats 2-2. Gold Coast winning that. Tell you what, the Gold Coast Suns did look like they were. They got on top in that second term, which is good to see because we want a tight game. Tell you what, she's pretty tight out there. It's real wet weather footy. The rain is tumbling down. I tell you what, you want to give a big shout out to all the fans out there at the Cattery. All of them wearing their ponchos to try and stay dry on this wet evening down there. But what a fantastic game. A real arm wrestle game that is being played out down there tonight. I tell you what, one of the things I've noticed in there, the Suns, well, they're trying to get it in their forward line, bombing it in there. The Cats were a little bit the same, but on a couple of occasions, the Cats actually composed themselves, lowered their eyes, and found some nice targets inside forward 50 to give them a shot on goal, which did result in a couple of goals there for the Cats. That is just the class and the skill of this Geelong side. Whew, I tell you what, this is anyone's game. As I was saying, the Suns have beaten the Cats the last 2 times they've played, but they haven't won down there in the last 7 attempts. It's been a while, though, since the Suns have played at the Cattery. A long time. 4 years, I think they were saying. That's a long time. Wow, it's a long time. But we are in for a ring-a-ding-ding second half. I tell you what, I'm not sure who's going to win this. The Suns, I thought, was going to get on top in that second term. But the Cats just steadied with that late goal. Of course, that late goal coming from Tyson Stengel. Beautiful kick from the boundary on a wet weather day. Exceptional elite kick from him down there. All right, while we wait for the commentators to come back, let's go and have a look at the goal scorers. Up until half time, we've got a few more. All right, let's have a look for the Cats goal scorers. Tyson Stengel, all singles, no multiple goal scorers out on the ground so far up until half time. Tyson Stengel for the Cats has 1. Lawson Humphries, Brad Close, and Tom Atkins are the other goal scorers for Geelong. For the Gold Coast Suns, of course, only the 3. We've got Matt Rowell, Ben Long, and Ben King. They are your goal scorers so far in this game today. Of course, not too many goals being kicked. Goals are hard to come by in this wet weather football. It's a real slog out there. And each goal is super important, super vital, super valuable if you can get the goal on a night like tonight. Maxi Holmes topping the table as he does for the Cats. I tell you what, he's had a few good weeks, hasn't he, Maxi Holmes? 17 touches, 11 kicks, 6 handballs, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 3 clearances, 1 behind. Well done, Max. You continue to lead the way there for the Cats. Will Powell, best for the Suns on 15, 10 and 5, 1 clearance. And then we've got a few Catters all in line. Graham Myers, 14, Tom Atkins, 14, Manna, 13, Tommy Stewart, 11, Then, of course, next on the line is Matt Rowell, Joel Jeffrey for the Suns on 11, John Noble on 10. All right, let's just break there. We'll just head back to the commentators. I'll give us a little bit of a wrap up on the opening half.
Turn 3 goals to 2 to narrow it back to a 7-point margin. A couple of big 50-metre penalties resulted in goals at either end. Half-time, the Cats 28, Gold Coast Suns, who have never won here in 7 attempts against the Cats. 21, Ruby Slicer is down on the boundary with the Suns coach. Rubes.
Dimmer, thanks for joining us. Pretty different first to second quarter. What did you see the change was?
Oh, we just equalised numbers forward of the ball. We sort of thought we'd be able to use or get some advantage in around the contest, but we sort of felt with their guys, they got back really quickly. So equalised those numbers. They're playing another guy behind, but that's okay. We'll compete 6v7.
They're pretty good at that number, that another extra number behind. How do you nullify that, particularly when it's like a Tom Stewart often is that number?
Yeah, well, with the 6v7, it's generally a winger or a mid that comes back. So we're sort of nullifying that a little bit. We know who it is, so we're working our way through it. But look, it's always a challenge in these games, especially wet, slippery conditions. So, whoever makes the most of their opportunity is going to win the game.
Appreciate your time. Good luck.
Well, the big story before we got to start here, Bailey Smith was out on the ground warming up. Hawkey had a slight hamstring issue last week and just wasn't able to get up today, to the disappointment of many here, to be honest.
Yeah, there he is, sitting back, looking very casual and comfortable. Looks like he's speaking maybe to Steve Saunders, it's Nigel Lappin, one of the assistant coaches. So that's disappointing. He's had such a terrific year for the Cats. He's run and carry and ball use going forward into inside 50 has been really important for the Cats. So they're sorely missing him tonight.
So Mitch Duncan was the sub. He was injected into the game late in the first half there. Shannon, just a tweak of the ankle and the big fella couldn't get back out there.
Yeah, it looked like it. It sort of didn't look like there was a hell of a lot in that, but we've got to take into mind that Shannon Neal is over 200 centimetres. He's a big lump of a lad, sort of 105, 110 kilo frame that's going through that 4 foot. So understandably, he's a little bit sore, and we hope for the best. He's a really important player, Shannon. Yep. He's developed nicely as a young key forward, but also a second ruck option. So, interesting to see. Height's not always that much needed on nights like this, but it'll be interesting to see how the game then plays without him being out there.
So Mitch Duncan came in after that injury. A host plus performance in the first half. Well, Sam Collins, if he hadn't been there in the first quarter, who knows what the score would have been, Hawk. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was. We can see him now. I mean, he's just taken the ball one-handed in the wet, but he's just been so solid. He's played on danger, I think, for most of the night. At times has had a look at Shannon Neal and Jeremy Cameron when the opportunity is presented, but there he saves a goal, absolutely. But he's been vital. He took 3 intercept marks in the first quarter. He's got 4 for the game. So you always know when you play on Sam Collins from experience, you're going to have a tough day. Your body's going to be sore because he absolutely makes you feel it.
So if you're playing on a night like tonight now, if you're a big forward, what is your aim when it is as wet as it is? Because it's been pouring all in the second term.
Yeah, it has. And I think we may have started to see the shift from danger through the mid part of that second quarter. He looked to be able to put himself in positions where he could compete, where he could take the body of Collins. Sometimes you can't. He's a big, strong lad and he runs through you, but he looks to be putting himself in positions just to try and nullify Sam's influence on the game.
We mentioned earlier on the Gold Coast Suns, they've been here 8 times. Once was against the Bombers, the other 7 were against the Cats. They've never won here, which is quite extraordinary. I reckon if you said to them half-time, you'll only be down by a kick, they'd say, we're okay here.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I've been impressed is their moments. They've had big moments, they've had big contests, whether it's in the air, bring the ball to predictable spots in the ground, whether it's the mids getting after it, pressure, tackle, kick the ball off the ground, just get it forward. I love the change and the surge mentality that we started to see come out in that second quarter.
Right, I hope you go and fire into that big schnitzel I saw you eyeing off, but it's half-time here. The Cats leading the Suns in wet conditions by 7 points.
All right, folks, there we go. Well, the commentators are away. Let's head back to some of these player stats. Find your favourite player. If you want to know someone's stats, just ask me in the comment section there, and we'll have a look for them. There we go. Zach Guthrie for the Catters on 10. Touk Miller, as I said, Touk Miller, John Noble on 10, both lads for the Suns. Daniel Rioli needs to get into this. He should be a good wet weather player. Just on the 9 there for the Catters. For the Suns so far for the Cats. There we go. We do get some wrong. There we go. Jared Witts, the big man. He's actually not having too bad a game there for the Suns. 6 touches. Just a 3 and 3, but he's had 29 hit-outs, 4 clearances. So going quite nicely out there is the big man. Jack Henry, just the 6 for the Cats. There we go. Tyson Stengel, a little bit the same. Just the 5 touches, 4 kicks, 1 handball. But I tell you what, he kicked absolutely brilliant goal from the boundary. Straight as a die it went through. I'll tell you what, that's not easy to do on a night like this. Wowee. He certainly brought the crowd to light. Sam De Koning, just the 5 touches there for the Catters. Who else have we got? Ben Long, not getting much of the ball. He's been well held down there by the defence of Geelong. Ben Long, 4 touches, 3 kicks, just the 1 goal there, the key forward for the Gold Coast Suns. Mac Andrew, 9 hit-outs, just the 4 touches for him, so he's going quiet. I tell you what, good signs for Geelong, good signs for Geelong. This, for me, is good signs for Geelong. Jeremy Cameron, 3 touches, 3 kicks, that's it. Dangerfield, 2 touches, 2 handballs, that is it. To me, at half-time, when Geelong are up, Jeremy Cameron, Paddy Dangerfield haven't had any influence on the game whatsoever. That's good news if you're a Geelong supporter, because you now know that these 2 boys, like they usually do, they come into the game in the second half and they just explode. I tell you what, they come in with fire and they lift the Cats up. So they got big, well, let's keep an eye on Jeremy Cameron and Paddy Dangerfield. We've seen them boys tear the game apart in the second half and especially the final quarter in recent times. So that's why I say that's good news for the Geelong people out there. You're leading and your 2 superstars still haven't fired a shot yet. So you've got that to look forward to. Let's have a little bit of a quick look at the team stats now. It's the Cats on this wet night going on season average, 173. That's plus 22 to the Suns. Suns a little bit under there. Cats doing well. The kicks, plus 15 to the Cats. I think it's a I think it's a good night to just kick the ball, get a little bit of distance if you can in these wet, slippery conditions. It's quite important. The handball, as you can see, not too much over handball by either sides, especially by the Suns. 157 their average. They've only hit a third of that. 65, 58. Inside 50s, well, the Cats doing a good job there. 25 inside 50s for 8 scoring shots, 4 goals, 4. The Suns having more opportunity. 30 inside 50s, 6 scoring shots, not converting well enough, as you see. That is efficiency inside 50, well down on both teams. Disposal efficiency, though, the Gold Coast Suns not too bad, 72. The Cats want to just lift a little bit, 68-8. They want to try and bring that up around the 72 as well. I'll be quite happy with that. Free kicks, well, it's a slippery, wet game, of course. Things are going to happen, things are going to slip, and that's exactly what's going to happen. 12-16, that's the away team, plus 4 in the free kick. So the umpires are having a little bit of a field day there. As you can see, the average 19 and 20. So they're going above that. It's just one of those days, one of those nights. I don't often see the wet weather footy like this, where the rain is absolutely bucketing down. But I'll tell you what, we're probably going to be in for a little bit more because it's just gone into winter. First week of winter here in Melbourne. We don't like winter, but that's just a part of it. We've got to put up. It is a winter sport. There we go. The Suns leading the way in the hit-outs, plus 14. Plus 2 in the clearances, plus 3 centre clearances. So they're doing a good job there, the Suns. Stoppage clearances, the Cats there, plus 1. Let's have a look at the contested possessions and the possession now. It's at plus 6. 2 the Cats contested. Both teams going pretty solid at the ball, uncontested. It's just 21. The Suns need to get their mitts on the ball a little bit. Just control a little bit and look for their options. Look for some better options when they do get the opportunity. Geelong do that more than the Suns in this game so far. Turnovers, well, we know this game is going to be reasonably high turnover, folks, 35 apiece. As I said, it is that type of football tonight. It's wet weather. We're going to have turnovers. We're going to have fumbles. It's going to be slipping through the fingers of players, the wet, slippery ball. That's just what happens. Let's have a look at the mark count, though. 47-32, plus 15 to the Cats. This is what I was saying about the marks inside 50. The Suns are sort of bombing it down there. They're not really, lowering their eyes, just taking their time to look for better options, whereas the Cats are. I know the Cats are under season average, but on a night like tonight, valuable to get your marks inside 50 and have like that free shot on goal. So 5 to the Cats, doing really well there. Contested marks. It's a hard night for contested marks above head. Tackle count. There we go, 39-33. Both teams tackling reasonably well and tackling inside their forward 50. I said both defences are pretty good out there tonight. 12-9. Reasonably high on the tackle count. Inside 50. Emmanuel, howdy. What's going on, Squire? LMK, welcome into the chat. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, let's just stick it on the live ladder at the moment. Of course, if the Cats end up winning, as we saw before, there we go. The Cats will move up into 4th spot. Game clear. Gold Coast down to 5th, but Gold Coast do have that game in hand. It'll be interesting. I'm not sure when they're still going to play that game, when they're going to play that extra game with Essendon. Hopefully they get that done sooner rather than later, so the ladder can be adjusted back to its correct position and not have teams around them wondering what's going to happen with Gold Coast Suns and that extra game, especially like teams like, even Adelaide, Geelong, Hawthorn, especially because they're around that section. To the lesser extent, Giants, Freo there, that are just a game behind the Gold Coast. So that's going to be super important when they play that game. The Gold Coast wouldn't want to end up playing that game when Essendon start to run into form. They'd like to play them now. But there we go. It's 7 points of difference at halftime here at GMHBA Stadium. We've got a fantastic, I tell you what, it's a low-scoring game, but make no mistake, this is a fantastic battle between two sides. It's a real arm wrestle out in these weather conditions out there, Emmanuel. It's like having an ace in your sleeve. I tell you what, it is like having an ace in your sleeve. If you're talking about Cameron and Dangerfield, what do I say? They've had like 5 or 8 disposals between them in total up in half time. I reckon that is definitely the ace up their sleeve, because these boys, I tell you what, these boys, they turn it on. They turn it on. We've seen them do it in the last quarter. Like, oh my gosh, nearly every time this year. So there we go. But I'm liking that Cameron's floating a little bit forward. I think they need to get him down there. Continue that, and if that's not working, you know what, put Danger on the ball for a little bit, take him out of the forward just to change it up, let him get a little bit of a touch on it, but I'm sure both the lads will end up tearing up a little bit. That being said, they've got to start and do it, because Gold Coast looked pretty good in that second term. They did have control of most of that second quarter. As I said, the downfall for the Gold Coast, they weren't giving their leading forwards a great look at the ball. They just sort of bomb it in there. It's just not working 100% efficient down there at the moment in the forward line for the Suns. Whereas the Cats, on the other hand, with their limited opportunities, they're finding some loose players who are getting a little bit of space there. That's exactly what the Suns have got to do if they want to make a little bit of headway into this game and have a little bit of a chance. The Suns need a safety house. Sign up for Stranger Danger. You're not wrong. I wonder if they've got a sign they can hold up on the side. It's danger time. There we go. I tell you what, they had plenty of other signs out there. My gosh, do they have some crazy boing signs out there? There we go. Adrian's going for Gold Coast. Let me have a look on the ladder here, because you barrack for Fremantle. You know what, Eddie G, I think, I know the Gold Coast is still there. Let me have a look. 36. Let me turn that live ladder off. 32-36. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, being a Freo supporter there for the ladder. It just depends on the draws and how they keep playing. I think, and especially with the Gold Coast still got that game in hand. This is by throwing teams off. Exactly. Hey, you know what, Emmanuel? That's enough for me from talking at the moment for the wrap-up at halftime. Let's get back down to the action where the real action is, and that's down on the ground. They're going to bounce the ball for the second half. Whew, it's the Cats by 7.
Pass to Gary Ablett. His wife, Jordan, sitting to his right. Great to see Gazza at the footy hawk.
Always is. What a champion player for both these sides. Lives and resides down here in Geelong, down at the Surf Coast. So great to see him and his wife. And Coach Robbie is the bloke in the middle.
Right.
My daughter does a little kickers program, I should say, that's run by Coach Robbie. So two great men.
So he's got a pie on offer, which is more than we could get here as well. Well done to Coach Robbie. Great to see Gazza here. Right, back to the footy. Geelong by 12 at quarter time. 7 at the halftime break. Rain continues to come down here. Early clearance. Anderson sends it towards the attacking 50. Humphries drops back by hand. Now Sullivan to the flank. Good use of the body by Atkins to close, who had a good second turn. Hoops it over now to the hard-running Dempsey, who wobbles wildly forward.
Well, he was surprised with how that came off the boot. Maybe a little bit too much grip on their hands. It was interesting hearing from Damien Hardwick at half-time how they equalised 4 of the ball, then Geelong send a 7th around. So that's just shows you what they prioritise, having a spare behind the ball.
So Geelong here have almost got +2 behind the ball. We've got DeConing as the deepest player, and Zach Guthrie is the other spare off the back of Swallow.
He tries to work his way through without much success.
This is the lightest the rain's been since the start of the game. So a little bit of clear air here. Hopefully it lasts.
Absolutely, Rubes. It's great to Muller, who tugged that far further right than he was expecting and dumps it out on the foot.
This is where they go to work, Geelong. So they'll just try and open up pockets. Where do they go here, Hawk?
Jeremy Cameron.
Great to Muller.
It just seemed like they weren't on the same page. Jez went to the pocket.
Yeah, well, he's constantly moving, Jeremy, and when the ball's over one side, the cavity of space that you said, Geordie, they like to open that up on that skinny space. The other one is always the bailout to the top of the square where that ended up.
A great kick out of D50 by Closey.
Just joining Shannon Neal, subbed out with an ankle issue. Duncan, the sub, came in, and Bailey Smith, a late withdrawal with a hamstring issue.
Sorry.
Late in the second term, Shannon Neal in a ruck contest just rolled over on the ankle and wasn't able to come back on. Brown caught with the footy, argues his case. O'Connor.
All 360, 540. Just held on for too long.
Metre punt forward. Again, it's Ewell.
It's just a game of chess at the moment. Both coaches, I think the biggest question with the coaching box is where you have your spares. Geelong prioritising behind the ball. So too are the Gold Coast Suns at the moment. We didn't get that boundary throwing number at half-time, Howie, that you gave us at quarter time.
We'll keep you updated on that one.
World record pace.
17 in the first 20 minutes alone. Oh, there's another one.
Deliberate. The Suns boys are trying to sort of work out why it wasn't.
It's the 36th, Georgia. We said the game average was 37.
Yeah.
35, in fact, so we're one past the average. We'll have to go. It'll have to be a higher average down here in Geelong, though. Stengel. Holmes in a hurry. Ewan had a good start with the turn, bounced off his chest. Close, Manor, left it behind. Stengel tried to just toe poke it forward. Roll, he's got him covered.
Just wonder when they pull the trigger for Danger to go in the midfield. Spent all night so far forward of the ball. So do they pull the trigger and try and get him in and around the ball at some stage to break the game open?
Long clearing ball. Henry does well to stand underneath it. Deserving recipient of a free. Stop-start game all night, full of stoppages. Still doesn't quite get it. And it's into 4. Gold Coast Suns, Holman. Just got it to Swallow. Good forward hand pass. Does it pop up rounds? It does. Now Miller measures the ball out to Humphrey, runs onto it. Transition by hand. Walter. First goal for the Suns. Let's have a look at the Bunnings build-up.
We just don't see those mistakes from Tom Stewart, do you? It was the right decision, but poor execution. Look at Tuke Miller at the top of the screen. I just love that anticipation to become an option forward of the ball. And a real reason why this player was able to continue inside forward 50 and end up in a wall to goal.
Even Holman at the contest, at the coalface, Geordie, they had the outnumber, but he was able to take the pressure of the tackler, be able to ride it and then dish it out to the outside, which ultimately ended up in Tuke Miller getting the ball, kicking inside forward 50.
3 of the last 4 goals away the visitors. Looking for a first win here in Geelong. And a bit of momentum. Flanders, the man from Fish Creek. 2 kicks from home. Long, brings it to ground. Close, he stood down. Holmes did absolutely brilliantly. He picked it up, spun. Good smother.
That's why Flanders can go from a centre bounce. They've been really good in the centre bounce. They're starting to get on the move, the Gold Coast Suns. But as soon as you get a clearance or a free kick in that particular part of the ground, you know you can go forward with confidence, knowing that it's a 1v1 forward of the ball. Great smother by Humphreys to keep the ball in their forward half.
Wobbled forward, Henry in good position. Sends it out of bounds.
They'll just creep their way inside forward 50. Usually look for the players just to sit off the stoppage. So Flanders, Closey.
Careful not to give away a free in their defensive 50 here, the Cats. Humphreys, Dangerfield. Quiet first half. Powell. Jeffries had a good second term. Blitzarves. Back to Lawson, Humphreys. Really well done, Guthrie. Was going long and then pulled it to Danger. This is an impressive build-up. Holmes. Now to Closey. Here's the important kick. Closey's deep. He goes shorter than that. Hard running from Mitch Duncan. Famously kicked a big barrel from this side of the ground in Mitch after the siren.
Well, I might have been doing that game. Were you doing that game?
We were.
Yeah.
John and Brown. 302 for Mitch. The team would dearly love this. Pulls it, going for the distance. Lands at the top of the square, Collins. He has been ferocious all night.
I think it was that from Guthrie off half back as well. To break the initial tackle and then to be able to transition the ball through the middle of the ground. You're right, Dangerfield's been quite only the 3 touches so far this game. Played 100% forward.
Bunch of pack. Was Walter.
See that particular matchup. They've been close together all night, those two. Anderson with the 11 disposals. O'Connor with the 11 as well.
Rao shakes it back round the corner. Duncan drops the mark. He's got Henry for support. Right hand to O'Connor. Kicks under pressure. He was dealt with after he got rid of the footy. Holding his head. Might not matter anyway. Cameron, no room. Fresh air. Gee, I'd like to have a look at that after he got rid of the footy on the flank.
Yeah, I think he's lucky not to get a downfield free kick, Jed Walter.
Oi.
Yeah. Just one that was missed. Doctor came out to O'Connor, but he waved the doctor away. Seems to be okay.
On ball towards the wing to Cunning. Got body in early. Now stripped of it. Mullen has had the night alongside Miller, who's had 12 disposals. Blitzar's promising build-up. Brian Myers, they love it in his hand. What can he fashion? He was under pressure. Mac Andrews done a good job so far. And he's received the free kickers, Big Mac. And a good battle between those two.
Yeah, it has.
Well, not 15. Danger knows he's got him. Anderson throws it on the boot. Hopes not to hit the Geelong target. Jeremy overruns it. Comes in again. Cameron ducked into the turf. And a let off for the Suns.
Yeah, it's a big call, isn't it? Certainly looked 15.
Anderson did really well to get a boot to it, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, if he didn't, he knew he was going to be holding the ball.
Yeah. Geelong bringing the heat. Attacking 50.
As we've mentioned throughout the call, it's been a high stoppage game, but clearance is relatively even. At +3 to the Gold Coast Suns' first possession, relatively even. So no one's been able to get any sort of ascendancy in that particular part of the ground. 1 goal each from stoppages.
The Cats kicked the first 2. That was a game-high margin of 12 points. Since then, it's been very tight. Sprint on. Lombard with those big legs pumping. Humphries. Lombard goes to ground. Opens the door. Now Mullen. Who will squeeze it down the line to close. Lemons was there to cover it defensively.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but Lombard just needed to take possession of the ball. Even if you take the tackler and the ball goes out over the boundary line, at least we get that stoppage again in your forward half, close to your forward 50, where you can reset, build pressure, and look to start your attack from a closer place to goal.
Tom Hawkins alongside Jordan Lewis and Ruby Slicer. Super Saturday Live. Tough, wet, hard contested footy. Closey, smothered, just like that. Blitzars, Holmes, Duncan, Holman does well to bring him to ground. Released it by hand, Lemons. Miller, socks pulled up to the logo. And Sullivan's in front. A couple of Suns clear the ball and each other. Jeffrey's a little bit sore getting up.
You see the Gold Coast Suns around him. That's how much they appreciate his work so far this game. Both sides have been really desperate defensively.
Atkins somehow conjures his way through some traffic. Dangerfield. Manor. Opportunity. Check side. Must. Kick it. And he doesn't. He's going to get many better opportunities on a tough night like tonight than that.
No, so good by Tom Atkins from the coalface, being able to take possession of the ball and be able to burst through the front and give Geelong a look inside forward 50 where Manor nearly should have finished.
Witts, soft hands to the bottom of the pack. Anderson, Rao, Holman.
You see there, bottom right of the screen. So can they get reward, Geelong? 74% in there, half of the ground. And someone break this play open. I mean, the hardest thing is to deal with the congestion and trying to find where there's a bit of space.
Anderson, Rao, nice step. Fiorini, Miller, back to Rao. Collin as he got rid of it. Walter, that might be out on the full. The boot of Big Jed.
Yeah.
Touched.
It was a clever kick by Rao to not sky that ball, allow the Geelong defenders to zone off and impact in the air.
Rao's had 15. Max Holmes is up to 23. Field comes off for a spell. Stengel is coming on to replace him. Meaning's disposal for the wholehearted Atkins. The tackling machine. Duncan. It's a targeting Mullen. And nothing forward, so he gives it back to Taccone. Slides it down towards Dempsey. And gather it at ground level. Lemons on the ball. A couple of opportunities close. Gives it to Myers. Was under pressure when he received it.
Yeah, Longmar was onto it. He knew close. It was beyond his distance. But this is just staying alert. It's tough, isn't it? Well, that was right in front of the coach's box too, on that side of the ground.
I think we'll get the lip reading experts onto that one.
You need to be an expert to read the lips of.
Well, he said he wasn't far off.
That's what he said, Geordie. Manor worked out okay. Couple of taps in the air, and in the end, Stengel takes a good little mark.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that. The Gold Coast Suns had the +1 back and still not able to affect the contest. And generally that comes down to disorganisation before the ball's in the area. But Stengel, like all good small forwards do, and forwards in general, read the ball the quickest and quicker than the rest. And gives himself an opportunity to go back and kick his second.
Kick their last to finish off. Beautiful set shot from an angle in the first half. Stengel for a second. No problem for Tyson Stengel. Cats ease it back out to a 9-point margin.
A bit of reward for Geelong with Tyson Stengel for time in forward half. And you mentioned it before, Johnny, and it is critical, although you can overwhelm sides, it's critical that you do make that scoreboard impact. In a tight game like this, you see 9 goals kicked in 2.5 quarters. So crucial that your best players take the mark, take the moment, and go back and finish with a really important goal.
There's a junior enjoying the tunes and the footy. Can't lose either way. Against the Gary Ablett Cup this one. Andrew having a run in the ruck against Stanley. They'll get the clearance through Swallow. Humphries in good position, uses his body. He's an exciting young player, is Lawson Humphries. Holmes coming up for possession 24. Perfectly weighted kick. What a kick that is to Duncan. Opens up the whole ground. Duncan's effort in the path of O'Connor. What are your thoughts when Lawson Humphries arrived down at the club as a distant pick?
Yeah, obviously don't tend to expect those players to have the impact that he's had such early in his career, but he's a future leader of the Geelong Cats. He's a beautifully skilled both sides of the body. He's tough, he's reliable, and just one of those teammates that are just great to play with.
There's talk that you weren't sure if he was left or right footed when he came down.
Yeah, I thought he was right until he started using it on his left very well after Christmas.
Stengel, dangerous ball to the top of the square. Dempsey nearly. Lemons literally picked it out of his hands, and now they're away through Jeffrey. Can they transition off half back? Fiorini involved in the chain. Jeffrey's been one of the Suns' better players. Henry with a shove right in front of the umpire. Disputes it, but hard to argue that one.
Yeah, good call on the umpire. A free kick to Long. And once again, it sounds like we're on repeat, but Geelong's spare defenders ahead of the ball.
Stewart stands underneath it. He got a shove.
So you've got to recognise that if you're the Suns. Damien Hardwick has spoken about it, trying to even the numbers for the ball. So the one person you need to go to and stand shoulder to shoulder is Tom Stewart. You cannot let him be spared.
Coach having a chat to Patrick Dangerfield, having a spell.
I wonder whether that's maybe trying to inject him into the midfield. And just see how he's feeling, whether he's happy to go up.
Well, he did say to you pre-game with tongue-in-cheek that he'd stay forward unless Max Holmes wasn't doing his job, and then he'd have to go in the middle.
Well, Max Holmes is doing his job. Bailey Smith isn't there, but maybe it is the last 7 minutes, or even it's a burst of 2 or 3 minutes where he can get in there and use his big frame, get the ball going forward, surge it.
Well, the other thing, it just gives the midfielders a bit of a reprieve as well. When they've been battling it out for nearly 3 quarters now.
Duncan been good since he came on. Myers, what a kick.
You're joking.
It's just brilliant from Brian Myers. Manor plays on, goes for something similar through the hands of Jezza. Holmes arrives, you go off the ground. Has he got the contact? Slams it into the post. Look at that kick again from Brian Myers.
He almost should have got it back. I mean, Sean nearly faces the game, lets his opponent stand on the mark, and I would be, even though he's running into the boundary as a right footer, I'd nearly give the ball just the way that he's kicked it so pure tonight, give it back to him.
Been magical by foot was Brian Myers, local boy. And Lombard has been subbed off. Ainsworth's come into the game.
You're right, Howie. Leo Lombard is out, just a tactical sub. Ben Ainsworth comes into the game.
Nick Roots.
Didn't have a heap of the ball tonight. Leo Lombard, only the 2 disposals and the 2 tackles.
Just to dispute whose foot it was off.
Yeah, you're not sure. I saw it come off his foot, so it's there free.
Well work. I'm not sure the crowd agree as much, Howie.
Careful, Jordy. You've got to get out of the car park still. Fiorini just dumps it forward. Swallow keeps his hands above the contest. Away from Flanders. Holmes, possession 27. He's racking him up. Myers, what's he got for us this time? Little dinky one. Not quite so good. Fiorini.
Yeah, didn't take his eyes off the ball, Fiorini. So when your direct opponent is trying to duck back to goal, the hardest thing is to keep your eyes on the ball and watch the kicker. Read it beautifully.
Millen nearly got through. Same for Henry. Now the Cats. Just walloping forward. Stengel's dangerous. Collins has been brilliant. Cameron rides him into the turf. 9 goals in the game so far.
Yeah, so they've held up well here, the Gold Coast Suns. 15 inside 50s for only 1 goal 3. So they've had to do a lot of defending.
Holmes. Newland tracks it back. Such a tight game. Geordie, 10 points okay. 16 going into three-quarter time. Starting to look like a journey for the Suns.
Yeah, their issue at the moment is just to get field position. So it's spent nearly the whole quarter in their back half. Get a chance here.
Well, Jeffries is down for Walton. Now they've got a free man out in Holman. Ainsworth just came on the ground. Reece Stanley arrives. Spoils it to ground. Can't pick it up. Clattered into. Goes to ground. Tackle applied.
And it's a good result. So now they get a chance to go to work. So Big Wits is coming down. So you try as a midfielder or a half forward to get the eyes and get some communication.
There's Big Witsy down to his feet. Free kick.
It's an easy let-off, isn't it?
He's been huge, Max Holmes.
Yeah.
Huge.
He's had 11 for the quarter. 11 for the quarter, 2 clearances. The 28 for the game. Clearly leading possession winner on the ground.
That's 737 metres gained in the first half last week, did Max Holmes. Dempsey flies. Suns pile on. Get it out to Flanders. Anderson tries to check side it around the boundary. Doesn't quite manage it. Dangerfield's coming back on. Let's see if he goes forward or has a run on the ball. Good switch by the Cats. Got Stanley further forward free of the footy. Just makes a bit of a meal of it on the kick. Rioli takes it off him, dashes forward with a rare bounce to a dangerous area. Humphrey overruns it. Here comes Dangerfield. In towards the footy. Closey. Rioli wants the forwards to come towards him. Sends it down to Walter. King. Screw kick out of defence. It'll be okay right into the middle. Tried to get it across to Holmes. Didn't quite work out. They still push it forward. Hands and knees. Powell needs to be good. Cats are pressing. Dangerfield bursting clear. Gets through a couple of tackles. O'Connor, they got numbers out. It doesn't go in that direction, but he hits Cameron. 2.5 on the clock. Cats lead by 10. Looking for a game by 16 if they can score, and they get it in the hands of Tyson Stengel.
You can nearly trace that back to the inside 50 for the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah.
It just had to stay skinny. It had to stay boundary side to not allow Geelong, one, to impact in the air, but two, to either come down the middle or to come to the open side. They just couldn't defend that. The Suns, from the Rioli kick inside forward 50. He's been kicking well tonight.
He's had a big impact. He's kicked their last 2 goals as Stengel to make it 3 out of 6 and take it to a game-high lead. Stengel. Pinpoint! Tyson's got 3 and the Cats are out to a game-high 16-point margin.
Lovely finish there by Tyson Stengel. And Geelong dominating the inside 50s in the third quarter. So again, some great reward for effort. But across the ground, they just seem to be playing smarter, understanding the situation that is at hand and the way that they move the football. They've been cleaner. They've been willing to take the ball from inside to out and outside to in to challenge the Gold Coast defence. They had numbers deep inside forward 50 that Cameron could have used. It was Holmes. It was close as well. And here's the man that's now kicked 3 straight for the night.
That's it all, isn't it? In tough conditions, he's had 3 shots at goal. He's kicked 3 majors.
And Geordie's got what he wanted. Danger's in the middle for the last 2 minutes.
Alongside Anderson.
was in long conversation with Chris Scott on the bench.
Stanley does well. Geelong really pressing here. Suns can't afford to give up another one. And they pinch one back the other way. Took Miller hopes so. Sends it forward, Henry. In front of Long, who hasn't been a factor so far tonight.
And he's had a really consistent season. The more I look at the Gold Coast set up ahead of the ball, the more I think they're just way too deep as a formation.
Dangerfield takes to the sky. Walter, his hand pass is stymied. Blitzards, danger. Looks aggressive with ball in hand. Myers on the left. McAndrew's got front position. Bounces off his chest. Lemons doesn't have a great deal to go to. Then he kicks it to Big Reese. Close wants it deep. Duncan runs inside. Stengel, give it to Stengel. He tries to.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
But Ewan was there. What are you saying about the Suns forward setup, Paul?
Yeah, so too deep, particularly with all night they've seemed to be competing with a +1 behind the ball. So if you're it's just a length from the position that the ball's on to where your deepest target is, and that at times is about 80, sometimes more than 80 metres.
He's getting busy now, danger.
So you want their deeper forwards further up the ground.
Humphries is 85, 90 metres away from the ball carrier. He needs to be higher just to help his teammates compete with the ball in the air so you can bring it to ground, and then you've got space to go into the forward line.
Final moments. McAndrew goes for the barrel deep in the turn. Need to be quick. Ooh, gee whiz. Ainsworth couldn't quite get it forward in time. Cats kicked the last two of the term. Stengel's kicked 3 of 6. In a low-scoring game, the Cats lead it in the wet, 6-7-43 to the Suns, 4-3-27 by 16 points. Basilenko watches on, laid out with a hamstring. Dangerfield goes in the middle. The Cats in control at three-quarter time.
All right, there we go, fellas. Three-quarter time. We've got a ring ding-ding last quarter coming up. 6-7-43. The Catters. The Gold Coast Suns, 4-3-27. The Cats, 2 goals, 3 in that third term. And just the one straight goal to the Suns. I think the Suns have set. You know what? It quite possibly could have set. I want to give a big shout out to the coach of Geelong. He said, Mike, you're right. We need to put danger in the centre. You're right. Good call. Good call. That's what they did. Danger goes into the centre, gets a couple of touches, looks lively in the centre because he was getting absolutely smashed down forward. No point keeping him down there when that's happening. Nothing's going his way. Give him some confidence. Give him some touch on the ball. Get him up and firing. Change his mindset. And if they want to put him back down forward late, then do it. Keep him on the ball for another 5 or 10 minutes. See what happens. I tell you what. Danger. He did look dangerous when he was in there and had those few touches while he was in there, that is for sure. Maybe that'll just open up the Catters forward line a little bit. I tell you what, it was a good move, though. It was a good move, Emmanuel. It was a good move. Chris Scott winked at your mic from the... He did. I know. I got the direct line to him. I was saying, hey, come on, Scotty. Make the move. Make it now before it's too late. And he did. Francis, what's going on? Noise. You missed the pubs. And plenty of pubs here. Surely there's some over there in Western Australia. Hey, Western Australian teams, we've got one big Fremantle Dockers supporter, Adrian Sports Channel, that comes in quite often. Of course, I always joke to him that Collingwood's his second favourite team. Because I go for Pies. Go Pies on Monday. Hey, anyway, let's just quickly duck over. Hey, the fantasy points. You play that game? Maxie Holmes, he's on 100 points so far at three-quarter time, the only one. Triple figures. Tom Atkins on 90. The rest, well, they're all under that. Goal scorers. Stengel stepped up in that third term. He's played reasonably well. 3 goals straight. He's kicking it straight. That's what you got to do in these wet weather conditions. Make the most of it. Lawson Humphries, Brad Close, Tom Atkins, the other singles for the Cats. There's only one team in WA, Collingwood. I thought there was only one team anywhere, and that was the Magpies. Yeah, we'll be. Hey, Cully, how you going? We'll definitely be doing the GWS Port Adelaide game. That'll be coming up at about 7:30 Melbourne time in about an hour and 10 minutes. I think that game is, of course, for the Gold Coast Suns. No multiples, all singles. Jed Walter, Matt Rao, Ben Long, Ben King. That is it. That is it. Hey, let's just have a thanks, Francis, for the sub. Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Appreciate it. Hey, Maxi Holmes, tell you what, he's a gun. He's a gun. He's an underrated player that doesn't get much mention, really. Whenever we cover the Geelong games, he's always up there leading disposals. He has a big impact. He's a fantastic player, Max Holmes. 29, 19 and 10, 6 clearances. Tell you what, wowee, he's good. Myers on 20 with Atkins on 20. Atkins doing well. 8 clearances. Well done. Will Powell, 18 for the Gold Coast Suns, leading the Suns on 18. Joel Jeffrey on 17. Hey, let's go. Let's just drop down. Have a look. I'll go down them slowly, and you can always see your player. If you want a player, let me know, and we'll have a look. I just want to go and see where Danger is, because I know he's down there somewhere. There he is. I don't know. I think he had about 2 or 3 touches up until halftime. That was about it. He's up to 6 now. All handballs, of course. A mark and a tackle. But I tell you what, that couple of minutes he was in the centre, he looked lively. So I tell you what, I'd be interested to see what that count is at the end of the game. No, also missing. No. No, they're generally pretty good these days, the Collingwood supporters. Let me tell you that. Hey, we'll have a look at Dangers anyway after the final siren, the stats on him. Just depends where he plays. I wonder if he continues to play centre or goes back forward. I'd be hoping he starts off in the centre and he has at least 10 more minutes in the centre to cause a bit of chaos. Because tell you what, you know, they couldn't tackle him when he was in the centre just then, and he was giving handball receives off and linking the players up. He looked good. He looked fantastic when he went back in the centre. Let's hope he stays in the centre for at least another 10 more minutes. And then if they want to chuck him back forward, chuck him down there, we'll just see how it goes. But for mine, I think the Cats will end up getting up. I know it's, 16-point margin. Look, anything can happen in this game. Don't worry about 27 points the Suns. They can put a few on quick. But I think in these conditions and just the will of Geelong, it's going to be pretty hard for them to give up this lead and this game. It's going to be an interesting final quarter. That's enough of me chit-chatting. Don't forget, put in your votes. Hey, what's the poll saying so far? Poll is saying 76% Geelong Cats. There we go. Don't forget, folks, if you're a football lover, if you're a Cat supporter, Sun supporter, give it a thumbs up for me. All right, let's head back down to the ground. Cats will win by 33 from Francis. All right, let's go and check it out. Let's head back to the action.
I wonder whether he did challenge him on the phone, because he came back out and he looked quite aggressive in and around the contest.
And these two sides met in round 13 last year. It was the highest scoring game of the season. At this stage, it's the absolute opposite. 3 goals away from being the lowest scoring game of this season. One was up north in Darwin. Miller. They need some early joy here, the Suns. Humphrey. Holman, who just used his body. Did he give it a shove? He's looking at the umpire thinking, did you see it? And the umpire said, my word, I did.
I'll tell you what, if Jared Healy's watching this game, he would be a happy man sitting on the couch. Sent a few in the back plate today.
Up and under, wild ball.
So I reckon Humphrey put out a shot at goal. I know, difficult angle, but he was really unopposed.
I feel like he's the type of player that loves to take big moments and could easily have gone back and kicked it.
They kind of a little step around his body. Andrew.
I talked about Gold Coast and their forwards getting way too deep. Now, Danger is completely disconnected away from the Geelong forwards here, so you can notice the other forwards, the other 5 or 4 forwards ahead of the ball actually are pretty close to the stoppage.
inside 50 to himself at the moment as Stengel just goes back.
But it leaves a huge cavity of space for Danger to work into. We mentioned before about how the fact that he is so powerful and he only needs a metre or two to impact and take the ball inside forward 50.
Collins is standing him deep in the square. Collins had a great afternoon so far. Coming back to about 35 from goal now with McAndrew beside him. Not going that way at the moment though. A little tap to Henry, not the distance. With the distance. To Holmes was coming up for his 30th disposal for Max. So often Geelong. And Sullivan and Stewart. Big switch on. Lawson Humphreys. Ainsworth. Now Fiorini. Crowd thought it was out of bounds. King takes a strong mark.
Well, Holman's free if he can find him. He's just too far away.
Kick one has King. Sends it to the top of the square. Big fly from behind from Walter. Front nearly worked out to Long. Close to be under pressure. Does well to Koning. Max Holmes is everywhere at the moment. King stands underneath it.
Well, he was a bit surprised that he got the free.
Willie Dempsey, his 10th disposal. McAndrew comes in from the side. Brings the fist to the equation. Now Manor, been busy all afternoon. He's up a bit of ground. Guthrie's got time to spill it, regain ball and his composure. Sets a task. Stengel has scored across the line by Powell.
He's become such a good player, hasn't he, Guthrie? So reliable across half-back time.
Yeah, he is. And he's a player that doesn't look overly strong, but my gosh, when you get him one-on-one, I've played on him a couple of times throughout the pre-season and he's improved out of sight, really.
Jack Guthrie, the only player to have played every game for the Cats since 2022 Grand Final. Had a tremendous run. Fortunately, his brother not so much. Now Holmes again. Had a big third term. He's going on with it now with a 30-second possession. He'll be his 22nd kick. Forward, Dangerfield, Collins, Hewlin wants it to hit the line. He had no interest in taking on Danger, and now he's got a problem.
He was in two minds, wasn't he? If he had taken it over the boundary line, he thought he might have get paid for deliberate. So he just waited for Danger to tackle him over.
Wicks with two hands. Stengel has kicked three from three shots.
And that's probably the other thing that you can look at is Jared Witt starting to explore longer hits. He's had 10 hits to advantage, hit-outs to advantage so far this game, so he does have it in his weaponry. So try and get on the move as a midfielder, try and pick dangerous spots.
And kick fourth the afternoon, the Suns have to kick at least three more to win it. Again, Stewart is free. Managed to keep him out of the contest, just King. Perfectly positioned again there though, Geordie. Tom Stewart.
Yeah, he just stays in line with the ball and he's relying on players further up the field to not get stepped so that ball comes skinny. Exactly where he's standing and positioning.
Mullen takes it away from Took Miller. Stengel gets off his man, couple of Suns. Powell tries to get through Dangerfield's tackle. Good luck with that. Spits out free.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? The communication at one end from Geelong being able to hold your direct opponent down and Stewart be the one that flies, and then confusion down the other end.
Now, Fiorini. This is the area it keeps breaking down. I'll try something spectacular.
That would have hurt.
What can they do, the Suns, from half forward onwards, Hawk? Because every time Geelong just seem to mop it up on their own half back line.
Yeah, well, they need a spread from the contest, Howie. So they're a number down there, so they've got to get their number back up and in the game. So either win it at the coalface at the stoppage, or chain the ball out and go forward, and even kick on angles. And at times, if Tom Stewart's going to dominate in the air, why not kick it on the ground, kick it over the back or out the side, and letting your teammates run onto it.
Henry's spare behind the ball, and it doesn't matter because it's going the other way. Holmes is absolutely on fire here. Back by hand, Dangerfield gets his opportunity from outside the paint. Danger to the square, and the man that starts on the wing and just drifts forward time and time again. Ollie Dempsey is there and line up for his 20th goal of the season.
Spot on, Howie. You called it perfectly. He's a man just that keeps on bombing up. He's got extremely high work rate, so don't be fooled by just seeing him in the goal square all the time.
Just eases around the corner. It's out to 22 points. Dempsey's on the board. And it's a game-high lead for the Cats.
It's a really important thing to remember with Ollie Dempsey. I mentioned that he, as you rightfully so did as well, how he spends and takes a lot of marks in that sort of 20 metres out from goal. So tough to play one-on-one because he can jump at the foot. He's also got great body control, as we saw. But his work rate to get both ways is something that the coaching staff love.
Well, that's his 20th goal. Champion data crew will have it somewhere, but at least 50% of those will be within 20 metres. And that hard run in the wing. So the Cats out now to an imposing 22-point margin. Looks like a long way home from the Suns to break their duck. They've never won here in Geelong.
Pressure building here. You can just see the Geelong side feeding off that goal. They look energised now. Good danger.
Pressing now. Close. Goals for Dempsey. He's on the way to a 40-goal season off the wing.
Yeah, certainly right up there in All-Australian contention. Started as a forward in the early years of his career and now has found a real niche on the wing.
Rising star winner. Shout of Geelong going around the ground. Fiorini, Witts tried his heart out all afternoon. Holding going on. It's against Rioli. Stewart takes the advantage. Myers has got it. Geelong looking to land the knockout blow or blows here. Mitch Duncan keeps it in front of himself. Here they come again, the Cats. Inside 50. Dempsey again. He'll shoot back towards the square. Manor ripped off the footy. Duncan sees it across the line.
It looked like Dempsey might have been stiff not to get a free kick as well. Just continually challenging closely forward of the ball.
9 goals won from 0 to 15 metres for Dempsey.
Yeah.
To highlight your point more. Manor, a little bit of space. Shins it.
He's a good man.
He's played a good game, John Jeffrey.
Yeah. This is where you need to take some risks, either through the middle of the ground or involve some handball receive and a little bit of speed on the game. You can't afford to get held up.
This is 19th disposal for Jeffrey. Andrew's done a good job on Jeremy Cameron all afternoon.
And this is where we talk about Jared Witts. Can he try and get a hit wide or hit back into the corridor?
He must to his feet. Fiorini. Stewart is going to go for it. Left it for a teammate in Duncan. Henry popped it up. Wilson Humphrey's read it best. Back now to Martin, who started the game with a stack of possessions. Just on 9 now. Had about 6 in the first 10 minutes.
soon as they get that first mark from Henry, now they're in control. They can just work their way up methodically inside forward 50.
Andrew with the fist on Cameron. Close and ripped off it by Dempsey.
The midfielding of both sides just starting to look a little bit tired, Geordie. There's been lots of stoppages, as we pointed out, but it takes a toll, and it looks like it's starting to.
I'll tell you what, they'll sleep well tonight. The mids.
Yeah, they sure will. This. And with that last passage of play from Geelong, we look at them get the ball on the outside and use their half-back. So don't be surprised if the game starts to open up just a little bit.
Close. It's for Manor on the overlap. Shallow throw in the boundary umpire. An opportunity. Geelong by 12 at quarter time, 7 at half time, 16 at 3/4 time. Lead by 22. They've kicked 7. Stengels kicked 3 of those 7. Brown acrobatically gathers it, releases it. Cameron, not much room to move. Round the body. I reckon it's home. I reckon he's floated at home. Closely thinks it's a mark. We'll find out.
I believe it's a mark. It was confirmed that it's controlled before it got to the goal line.
Score review. Umpire's call is a mark. Please check to see if it's controlled before the scoring line. Sam.
He's close.
Review complete. Woodley's angle, the player makes contact with the ball before it crosses the back of the goal. Decision on the scoreboard.
And Sam Close has just arrived in time. Shaking the head from the coach.
Just didn't waste any time celebrating. He was straight into the celebration.
Closey charges out from full back. Can they get some run, the Suns? Turned over. Fiorini.
The other thing with this Geelong, so they've controlled the game clearly. Pressure's been over 200 for the whole game. So I mean, just the mental strength to bind to the conditions, the way the game will be played, and just slowly grind this Gold Coast team down. We're coming with this kick.
Does. Atkins gets an important hand in. Doesn't gather the first time. Myers. Deadly. Brian Myers finishes the goal and maybe the game. Cats have kicked the last 4 and they're out by 28 points.
Yeah, that was a bit of Myers magic. He's been clinical all night, all evening, this afternoon, just with his ball use up the ground. You see things that other players don't see often at times. His teammates not knowing when the ball's coming to them, as we saw really early on in the game with Jeremy Cameron when he found him inside forward 50, but great reward for effort. For a player that's highly intelligent, sees the game really well, is a great communicator out there, is a great leader. His teammates rely on him, but often, as we saw, he likes to find teammates in better positions, so it's nice for Grind to be able to go back and kick a goal himself.
I think McAndrew would like his time again as well in that instance.
41 and a half minutes since the Suns have scored a major. De Koning. Here's an opportunity. Humphrey with a check side. And that long run is broken. Something for the Suns late.
Yeah, well, only one goal in the third term and their first goal in the fourth term. It was out of centre bounce. This has been a highlight of their game. The Suns, their centre bounce clearances. Midfielders getting to work a little bit more room and what they've found around the ground. The 10-3 out of the middle in favour of the Suns.
Been so congested. 116 round-to-ground stoppages, which is the most for any game this season, and there's still a fair chunk of time on the clock. So the Suns keep themselves in it just. Max Holmes has got different ideas. Ewan's tried hard all afternoon, overruns it. O'Connor. Stengel's had 3 shots for goal. He's kicked 3 majors. Here's his 4th shot for goal. Here's his 4th major. Runs to the crowd. Stengel on fire at the Cannery.
He has not wasted an opportunity today. Tyson Stengel, 11 disposals, 4 goals, straight. The handball out of congestion, set him on his way.
We've seen games. We saw Brisbane last night, 8 behinds in the last term. We saw Melbourne up in the hours. Couldn't score a goal. 4 shots for goal, 4 majors when your team's kicked 9 on a wet day.
Yeah, so important.
You probably won't get Brownlow votes, Geordie, but impact on game.
I mean, he'll be up there. It's been an eye-catching performance.
Yep.
It really has. I mean, if you look across the board, Holmes is the leading possession winner with 36. The next best is Myers at 24. So I think Myers has stood out. I think Holmes has stood out. And certainly Stengel is in that conversation.
11 disposals, 4 majors. Another one for Holmes. Evans is back behind the ball. Jeffrey's been one of, if not the best Sun today. Long gets in front. He had a tough night. Just opening up a touch, finally. Plays on Long. Can't make the most of the opportunity. Jack Martin marks, and I think he would love to get off this ground, sing the song, and be injury-free after his first foray out for the Cats.
Well, he had a couple of weeks in the VFL. They're clearly eager to get him back in the side, playing in a different type of position that we've seen him play at both Gold Coast and Carlton, but he's fitted in even seamlessly.
Beautiful move, isn't he, Jack Martin?
Yeah, he's really clean, which I think epitomises the way that Geelong's played tonight. Constantly see them get the ball from inside the tight spaces of the contest and get it so cleanly out and to advantage of their teammates on the outside.
Mueller quite paid the mark. 38 for Holmes now. Mark Andrews aware of Cameron. Collins been great on Dangerfield all afternoon. Dangerfield just drags him down. Probably didn't have the footy. And Mac didn't enjoy it. Gave one to Paddy back. Now Paddy's taking on Collins. I'm going to be careful there. Looks like he rode in on his Harley Davidson, Collins. Dangerous ball. Oh, Stewart just lays him out. And not moving is the Gold Coast Sun. That is interesting. Hopefully okay. We'll have a look at that.
Wow. That was a huge hit, Howie.
They need to stop playing they are.
Yeah.
Good awareness from the umpires.
You're exactly right. The right decision.
It's Anderson that's gone down.
Yeah. Certainly live, it didn't look like he got him high, so that confirms that. just in that rib section. Oh,
And his head hit the turf. And look at it real time. Happens in such a hurry with the power of these athletes. What do you think, Geordie?
I mean, you clearly right now you feel for Noah Anderson that's on the ground, but it was as big a collision I've seen this year.
Yeah, it certainly was, and you're spot on. We hope, first and foremost, that he's okay. But any time there's head impact, you can't help but think that the player that bumps has got some sort of answer.
I certainly don't want to talk to him, but I sort of think that it's more ribs than head. But I mean, time will tell. He was certainly pointing to his ribs. The umpires are clearly going to check, the concussion side of it, the impact that it may have had. But just watching it.
I feel it was okay with the ribs. I don't seem to be concerned about any concussion, Geordie.
What's that?
Don't seem to be concerned about.
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, clearly I'm not down there and assessing him, but
The main concern seemed to be the ribs.
yeah.
Gee, it was the old bone rattling up though.
Just thankful we're up here now.
O'Connor does well to get a little toe poke onto it. Stengel with a tackle.
It has sent a bit of a hush over the crowd.
He's worked his way into it too, Anderson. Took about 8 minutes to get his first touch. He's up to 19. Geelong take on Essendon next. The Suns take on the Giants away.
This means 4 in a row, Howie. Port Adelaide Dogs, West Coast. And now the Gold Coast Suns.
It's a good period for the Cats. Stewart.
I know the game's over, but Dimmer would still be scratching his head at that type of kick.
First disposal for Stewart. Snaps it up there, and then goes for a barrel inside 50. Unconventional. And the Cats managed to defuse it.
It's a similar sort of result, though, again, along the lines of what you said before, Jory, straight to that +1.
Anderson showing some real disappointment there, whether he's being told that he can't go back on the ground, or keep an eye on that.
He just came for a walk in front of me and he seemed pretty good. The doctors came over and seemed to have a bit of a chat. He shook his head and said, no, I'm all good. But I had a bit of a disappointed look then when it seems that maybe they're stopping him from getting back on the field.
Seems keen to get back out there. Tough boy.
Looks like he's waiting to go back on. Or maybe he's just waiting for the doctor.
No, he's going with the doctor. He knows his afternoon is done. Now whether that is a HIA check.
You wait for the outcome of that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely you do.
We've seen that so many times to determine what happens, yeah.
Marked by Swallow on his chest. And 245. most of anyone in the competition to not play a final. Hopefully that changes this year for David Swallow. Just on 50, keeps it pretty low, strikes it well, just across the face.
They're still hanging around though, Howie. I want to stay and sing the song.
We've got bookies for Chin Chin afterwards, Geordie.
What's that?
Chin Chin, the restaurant they've got down here these days.
Yeah, right.
Usual table, please, Mr. Hawkins. Just walking straight in.
You got a table for 4. Rhodes.
Very good.
They put all the numbers away from the stoppage here. Have the Gold Coast Suns inside their defensive end or forward end, 10 forwards. Really try and clear out, let the midfielders go to work. Tuke Miller, Johnny Noble.
Witts and Stanley battled against each other most of the afternoon. O'Connor, Rao, talking about battling hard all afternoon. Matty Rao tries to create space to number 18. Ainsworth misses power.
Is that something that they could have done a little bit earlier? I know we're looking at 10 on 10 in there, attacking 50 or ahead of the ball, but...
Well, it seemed like Dimmer was happy to equalise with a 6, but certainly when a 7th went down, he didn't want to equalise with a 7th. I mean, this is something that you rarely see.
See if it works out now. Stack of forwards in play. King hits the back of the pack. Will be congested in there.
And the only other thing it does is, with a really strong midfield and ruckman that the Gold Coast have, a low number around the stoppage gives them the opportunity to actually get to work instead of balance in lots of numbers in there.
It's hearing the 652 to Werribee in the background, shoot past the stadium. Dempsey, Cameron. And a free kick, high. Plays on. Tries to put it into the pathway. Sullivan through his hands. Free kick. Advantage paid. Unusual advantage, none really. Jeffrey showed dash all afternoon. It's been a real positive.
Down the middle. If we can come back.
Gets it back again. Here come the Geelong Tools. Set up well. Long. Deconing one of those aforementioned.
Yeah, he's been solid, Sam DeConing, tonight, working his way back into some form. I know it's not the right type of night for Ben King as he has a spell, but I think he's been really solid back there. He's been well supported by Stewart and O'Sullivan and Henry, but he's held his own very much against King.
Getting off in the second term with an ankle issue. We've just seen Anderson go downstairs and Bailey Smith didn't start today. Had a hamstring issue and Reid was a late out as well for the Suns. Good Suns. Duncan. Clever one, Myers.
In the end, with the result that we're going to end up with here, the Bailey Smith option, in the end was a smart call. I can't imagine a player with a tight hamstring that plays as explosive as he does in a contested, wet type of game would have been all that good for him.
Rowell up to 22. Holmes has had 39 possessions as Maxi. Power running all day. Sarves taps it in front of himself. Closely up against his brother today, Sam and Ted, against each other. Collins has been a warrior all afternoon. Picks it up now to Sam. Kicks under pressure. Norman stays down from the Atkins fly. Atkins gets through the tackle. Stanley floats it forward. Collins.
Just can't help to look out to Matt Rowell. He's been fighting all day, and then Ted Closey comes on and tags in and around the stoppages with fresh energy. Good run.
Rioli on the overlap. Oh. Another attempted barrel. They're unusual entries. That was a failed barrel. The previous entry was a successful barrel, and the coach is not sure what's going on.
No. Shagger just had to get out of the road there as a runner.
Another one for Rao. Up and under. A couple of cats watch each other as Sullivan popped off the ground. Just feels like, Geordie, it's been played on the Cats' terms today.
Oh, absolutely. I think they've been really clinical in the way that they've managed the game. They've set up really well off the ball. The pressure further up the field has been at an elite level, which has meant the Gold Coast Suns haven't had any time and space. So with no time and space, pressure on the ball, it means you dump kick a lot. And the Geelong defenders for so many years have found themselves in a really solid position defensively. As we see young Closey mark the ball, so I've been really impressed. It was never going to be a high-scoring game because of the conditions. But to keep Gold Coast to 5 goals across 120 minutes of football.
Guthrie with a little punctuation mark. We came in 5th versus 4th. The Suns have never won here. They came full of hope. Going to be a 9th loss here, an 8th straight loss to Geelong at this venue. Guthrie gets it a touch wide. Just lands in the field of play.
So Holmes 39, so he may crack the 40. He's got 49 seconds to go. He's in and around the stoppage here, opposed to Dave Swallow.
Won by 12 at quarter time, 7 at half time, 16 at 3/4 time. Led the entire night. 24 points with 3-1 last term. Stengel's kicked 4 from 4 shots. He's been the difference. Miller away from Atkins. Rao slips in an inopportune time. Rioli towards the corridor. Edge forward, and again it's a Geelong spare taking the mark.
Yeah, pressure's been over 200 for Geelong, 204 for the game. Be really pleasing for Chris Scott and the coaching staff.
Guthrie down the line. The Suns come to Geelong again full of hope, but again to part for disappointment. For the 8th time, they've been rolled by the Cats at home. Geelong 9-7-61, the Suns 5-7-37. In front of 29,502 people, the Cats getting it done by 24 points. Geelong by 12 at quarter time, 7 at half time, 16 at 3/4 time. In the end, 24-point winners. Max Holmes ends up with 40 disposals. Stengel 4 shots a goal. He's kicked 4. And Ruby is down on the ground. Come in, Roots.
Well, Max, there's a minute left to go. You were on the bench. You were pretty quick to get on there with a big smirk on your face. You had to have known you were on 39.
Yeah, I got off, sat down, thought I was done, and then Shorting is just like, you're 39. I'm like, why'd you take me off? But I am on a straight to them on that last one. I was pretty dodgy, but no, it was a good win.
You've got to make sure you get there all the way. Do you just pick the closest bloke and say, get off, I'm going for this one?
Well, I tried to, I was Zach got through the ball right on the bench. I was trying to scream for him, but he just threw the handball. It doesn't matter much. Yeah, it's a good team win, so it was a scrappy game, scrappy win, but yeah, we got those ones.
Talk to me about those conditions. It was a pretty difficult first half with that rain pouring down, but you guys were really able to set the tone early.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of thought a bit round and we thought they couldn't be used to cold, wet conditions that much up in the Goldie, so we're just like, let's just prove that we're used to it. So yeah, we're pretty clean, I think, so went well.
You obviously lose Bailey Smith just before the bounce. Did you guys have an idea coming into the week? We saw him sort of grab his hammy against West Coast last week. Did you have an idea that you might be without him and it was just going to be that last call before the bounce?
A little bit. In Bailey fashion, he was pretty adamant all week that he was going to be playing. So it was pretty laid out. I think it was very close. But it says a long year ahead, so there wasn't much point for him to force it. So Teddy came in, did an amazing job, I thought. So really stoked for him to get the chance, and yeah.
Okay, so you guys, as a side, where do you feel like you're at the moment? You're sitting up in the top four as it stands right now, but compared to these previous years, and you've always been up there for the last decade, where do you feel you sit at the moment with how good your football can be?
I think we haven't really hit our straps yet. That sounds arrogant, but I feel like we haven't necessarily played as well as we possibly could have, which is exciting going forward. So there's 9 more games in the home and away season to really sort that out, and then finals. So I think hopefully from here, don't want to jinx it, but yeah, probably play finals from here, and yeah, go forward from there.
I love the confidence, and I'm sure we will see you there in September. Go enjoy the win.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to Max, who just had a lazy 862 metres gained alongside his 40 disposals. And the Cats says the Hawks got a big smile on his face because they've just snuck into the 4 Hawk where they typically are, your team, Geelong.
Yeah, I just love Max Holmes' summation of where they were at. He's not an arrogant person. You know, they'll probably play finals, and they probably, yes, again, they haven't hit their straps. So it's it's a good sign for them to be able to put a side away that's of top 4 calibre in the way that they did.
Ruby.
Here with Ollie and Tyson. Now, Tyson, I'll start with you. 4 goals in the wet. It looked difficult for most players out there, but it just looked easy for you today.
I'm not too sure. I just went back, went through my set shot routine, and I'm lucky enough to slot them there.
How do you know you're on? Are you coming into a game and you just certain, or do you just back in all the work that you've done throughout the week that, yep, I've got this?
Yeah, I think, training throughout the week, coming to the game, you feel confident, got hands out in the game, so it's good in the end.
And Ollie, for you, I mean, they set it up in the comms box. You're a winger you're on 20 goals at the moment for the season. You're on track for 40. How much do you love just slipping forward, getting in these blokes' way and hitting the scoreboard?
No, I love it. I'm a natural forward, so playing on the wing and they help me out down there.
How are you enjoying that role and the split between the two and being able to, I guess, really roam the field and be damaging in all 3 areas?
Yeah, it's a lot of running, but I love it. I do a lot of work over the off-season and pre-season, and it's a good role, so I'm very happy and enjoying it.
We've got Big Tomahawk up in the box for us tonight. It's just incredible as a club, and I'm interested to know what it is about Geelong that you lose a vet and one of your all-time greats, but this young talent comes through and steps in and is pretty much game ready straight away.
Yeah, we miss Big Hawk, but we just have a credit to the recruiters and all the coaching staff, and I don't know, it's just a good culture down here, and I feel like it breeds good footballers.
And Tyce, for you, I mean, you've been working in the forward line for a couple of years now. Who is it that you lean on and that you really look to up there that you just know you're able to link up with?
I've got Jezza, obviously, and got the other smalls, Brian and Closey. We work pretty well as a unit, so we know where we're going out down the field. So, when it comes to game day, we already know what we're doing. So, it goes well.
Boys, good job. Go enjoy the win.
Thanks so much.
It's a good win, Howie, when you look down at the goal kickers and there's no numbers in the left-hand column for Jeremy Cameron.
Absolutely. It's a good battle with back Andrew tonight. Obviously not a good conditions for the tall forward, but he stuck to his task, Mac, and Damien Hardwick again back to the drawing board. We'll have to come back here another time and try and beat the Cats at home.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the most difficult tasks in football, and it was made even more difficult with the conditions. We've just got a little insight in terms of the mental battle, between these two sides, and rightly or wrongly they were preparing themselves for a Gold Coast side who probably see more sun than any of us, and try to make it a really tough, hard in and under game for them down here at GMHBA. But yeah, I think, you know, him thinking as he walks across the oval, there was a lot on repeat tonight. I think if you were to review the game, and I don't think they would have went into the game thinking we're just going to keep bombing it back to the spare Geelong defender. So one, it's about the players taking ownership and not adhering to the game plan that Damien Hardwick and the coaching staff put in front of them.
Yeah, I agree, Geordie. I think that they had opportunities to change things in their back half, but also down in their forward half. Just slight shifts, even through the midfield, different ways that they could chain the ball out, the ways they could surge at areas of the ground that they could try and expose Geelong. Just thought they didn't try and test them enough tonight. But as you said, the Cats, professional, they had winners all over the ground. I love the two Irish boys. I thought they were fantastic. Shannon Neal goes down early, but the veteran Mitch Duncan comes on and plays a really crucial role as we see some of the dads as well of Geelong with their kids. But yeah, again, that was clinical. You know, Zach Guthrie, there was too many to sort of name. They just had winners all over the ground.
So there was only one really major talking point where Noah Anderson was crunched by Stewart, looked to be in the ribs. Whether he has a concussion test or not, it was an enormous hit. Didn't get him high.
Yeah, we saw it live. You could see it unfolding. Two players going for the ball, and you can only really look at Noah Anderson, his frustration when he went downstairs. And you can understand why the doctors probably wanted to tick that box just to make sure. But I mean, to the eye, he looked fine. But that will certainly play out today and tomorrow, and whether it gets him high or not, a lot depends on the outcome of Noah Anderson, whether he has got concussion or whether he doesn't.
So Paddy Dangerfield ready to lead the Cats off. Back in the side for Paddy, his most fruitful day. And the Cats take their 9th win of the season. Jack Martin got through his debut nicely.
Is that Paddy's boy or Mitch's? He got Mitch's number.
Ollie Duncan, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lead the team off. What a thrill for the young fella.
I know, but Mitch has got 4 kids, so that's nice for the captain to babysit.
You can't favour one. There's the other 3. There'll be some tired and sore boys, Howie.
Yeah, my word.
That was a genuine contest all day.
Yeah, Mark O'Connor is the last one in. He might be the sorest out of them all. I thought he did a terrific job in the midfield, qualifying Anderson, but also had time on Rowell, and then we saw him play half forward as well. So I thought he was brilliant. You know, I mentioned the two Irishmen there; they are together.
Yep, Marlon just picking up a little chocolate milk on the way through before he gets to the song. Most wonderful performance really by Geelong, 24 points. Highest number of stoppages around the ground in any game this season. Jeez, a big old crash in the middle there.
Where are all the players' kids?
The crowd have wanted it, Geordie.
There's got to be some cousins in there somewhere.
There's something down the water in Geelong. If they all are, it's a positive for father-son moving forward and for father-daughter as well. Here are the Cats. 1, 2, 3.
All right, there we go. The Geelong song. I tell you what, they had, geez, they must have had 40 kids in the middle of the circle there where the players were singing the song down in the rooms. There we go. Suns top 4 material, not this year. Tell you what, that's what I keep saying. The Suns are good at home, maybe up there in Darwin, but yeah, when they travel, oh my gosh, they get into, they're not the best of travellers. This is a thing, you know, you've got to learn to do if you're going to be up there and contending in the big finals, and especially the big grand final. Hey, Dom, how you doing? Welcome in. Good stuff, Jonathan. Yeah, it was a very hard-fought game, by, yeah, I don't know, kissing cousins, it could be. It was a very hard fought game by the Cats, of course, pretty much in control of the game today, although the Suns gave a bit of a yelp up until midway through the third quarter, and then the Cats, I should say, ran away with it. 3 goals straight the Cats kicked in that final term, 1 goal for the Suns. Wobbly kicking by both sides. Well, they both kicked 7 behind, so look, I think the best team won on the night because you support them. Good stuff. Elvis Movie in Geelong. Well, there you go. Do you think Carlton is better? I tell you what, the Suns are probably a little bit more consistent than Carlton at the moment. Carlton are just up and down, up and down. I don't know. I don't know whether Carlton still got their game plan right and their structures right. Especially when Mackay and Curnow play together. It just never seems to work well when they're both down the forward line. But that's a whole different story for another day. But you know, they do look good in certain points when they're playing well, Carlton. But yeah, they're just disappointing. If you follow Carlton, it's just disappointing a lot of the way they play. But you know, if you follow Cats, you're never really disappointed because they're always giving their best Geelong. And again, that's what they did tonight. Here we go. You got to love the way they play, the Catters. And it was good to see. Well, Danger got in a little bit. He still wasn't overly brilliant in his game. Let's check out the goal scorers. 1 multiple goal scorer on the ground. And, of course, Tyson Stengel, he was dead-eye Dick today. 4 straight goals from his 9 kicks. Fantastic. The Cats player, Graham Myers, Lawson Humphries, Oliver Dempsey, Brad Close and Tom Atkins, all singles. And, of course, for the Suns, Jed Walter, Matt Rowell, Ben Long, Ben King, Bailey Humphrey were the goal scorers. You know, I think half the problem with the Gold Coast Suns today, it was a wet and rainy day and the sun just wasn't shining. Just wasn't shining. Graham Wright, football club next year. Graham Wright, I remember Graham Wright. He was a pretty good player, wasn't he, for the Maggies? Yeah, they're a bit disappointing, Carlton. I know I would have thought they would have gone a little bit better. Actually, we'll have a look at the ladder in a minute after the stats. Maxi Holmes, there we go, 40. He finally got his 40 disposals. Max Holmes, 14 disposals clear of any other player. No other player even got into the 30s, just Max Holmes. 40, 25 kicks, 15 handballs, 6 marks, 5 tackle, 2 clearances, 2 behinds. Would have been nice to see him kick a sausage roll to finish off his game. Would have been fantastic. Graham Myers, next best, 26 for the Cats. For the Suns, 25, Joel Jeffrey, Matt Rowell, 24, and Braden Fiorini, Tom Stewart. Oh, geez, I tell you what, he gave a big hit on the Gold Coast Suns player. But of course, it was a good fair bump. But certainly the other players, I don't know whether he's going to have some sore ribs or broken ribs. He's hit the ground a little bit, but he should be okay with that. All right, let's quickly just roll down these because in about 15 minutes' time, we're heading over to the next game. We're heading over to the next game in about 15 minutes. Of course, that's the GWS Giants taking on Port Adelaide. Should be an interesting game where I think, I see Port Adelaide is one of those sides probably even more disappointing than Carlton. They promise so much, Port Adelaide, but, geez, they just don't deliver. I'm not sure how long the coach, Ken Hinkley, will still be there. I'd be thinking, you know, if Port Adelaide get a spanking in the next couple of weeks, I think they've just got to make the change early and bring in a new coach. McAndrew on 11, Tyson Stengel, as I said, 11 touches, 9 kicks, 4 straight goals. Ben Long, 8 touches, 1 goal, 2 for the Suns. Paddy Dangerfield, very quiet day for him and Jeremy Cameron. So the Cats, you know, the Cats are doing well when Danger and Cameron have quiet games. Just the 7 touches for Paddy, but I did like the move just prior to 3/4 time, putting prior to the end of the 3rd quarter, putting him into the centre, just get a little bit of touch. And of course, Jeremy Cameron, 6 touches, just the one behind. Team stats, so well, there we go. It's about plus 80 for the Cats on disposals. There you go. What's that? 30 plus 70 odd in the kicks roundabout. Inside 50s, both teams got plenty of opportunity, 55-51, so we can't worry about that. You know, it was the quality of the entries that absolutely obliterated the Gold Coast Suns. Oh, just ordinary going inside 50, not pinpointing targets. bombing it in. It was just not good. Whereas the Cats, they'd lower their eyes. You can see with the Cats, for more experienced team, they've got that composure. They can do that. 24-21 free kicks. 3+2 the Catters. The stoppage game though, the hitouts, the Suns by 17 in the hitouts, all clear in the clearances, +5 to the centre clearance for the Gold Coast Suns. Chris 2K, how you going? Can you please tell my brother happy birthday? Nick Gers, hey, happy birthday. Well done. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip hooray. Nick Gers, happy birthday. Good on you, Chris 2K. I hope Nick Gers has a fantastic birthday, your brother there. Pass away. No, Tine, famous Tine. Welcome back to the chat. Good stuff. Stoppage clearances, Cats +5. Just got on top there. Contested possessions. Yeah, look, the Cats, they're just going in harder. They wanted it a little bit more. The Suns contested well. I said the Cats just controlled it more. About 68 there on the uncontested. Turnovers pretty high. Look, she was a wet day. It was bucketing down for a lot of the day. Wet, slippery game. But the Cats just handled it a lot better. 50 odd more marks for the uncontested. Shows you they were in control. Inside 50 marks. There we go. It's what I was talking about. The Cats, they're just composing, looking for their targets, creating space. They just know how to do it. 10-4. +6 there. All right, tackles. Well, 17 tackles are different. Suns all right. They're above their average. So are the Cats. Tackles inside 50. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits. 26 tackles inside their forward 50. That is humongous. 26. And oh, well done, Geelong. All right, let's go and see if we can look at this live ladder. Let me reload that up. There we go. The ladder is live. The Cats now and the Gold Coast Suns, they change positions there. Cats go to 4th. Suns go to 5th. Gold Coast Suns, though, still got a game in hand. That being said, percentage now, 3% difference between them two. You're talking about Carlton, Dom, down there. Carlton sitting down there in 14th on 16 points. I'll tell you what, at least their percentage is still all right, 102.8. They need to win. They've still got a couple of games on a couple of teams like Hawthorn, etc. So if Carlton can have a good second half, 16, what are they, 20? 3 games outside of the top 8. Look, anything's possible. If they win, they'll be 2 games out. Anything's possible. Anything is possible if Carlton does well. But, I mean, one of these teams here, Western Bulldogs, tell you what, I'll be surprised if they miss out on the top 8 at the end of the season. I'm just not sure who's going to go out. Maybe Fremantle might burn themselves again. But the Fremantle, I think, had to buy, and they've got the next 3 games at home. So that's going to be pretty good. It's still too early to say. You just never know. If Gold Coast Suns falter, maybe they could drop out. Hawthorn, they were lucky they played some good footy. Was it last night and won that game? Or else that would have been a chance of going out. So, well, everything is chopping and changing. I think the 2 teams that will secure the spot, and I think will be pretty safe. Definitely Collingwood, Brisbane. I think they are by far probably the best 2 teams in the competition at the moment. Geelong's going all right, providing they can lift their form a little bit, but I still think Collingwood, Brisbane are the best 2. So I just can't see how Collingwood can't win this year's grand final if their form continues. Their structure is just probably the best structure in the entire league at the moment. But there we are. GWS, yeah, well, the Giants might flop out. Exactly right. The Giants play Port Adelaide. Just imagine in Port Adelaide have a ring-a-ding-ding game. You know, Port Adelaide down here, everyone expected Port Adelaide to have a reasonably good year. 4-7, Port Adelaide, I don't think they can get in there. But the Giants, yeah, they are definitely a chance of dropping out if they drop this game. Their form's been up and down. You just never know. But, yeah, what a fantastic it was a good game. Look, it was an interesting game. We always thought the Gold Coast Suns would come back a little bit. But, yeah, the Cats just wouldn't allow that. And as I said, I tell you what, you've got to be pretty happy if you're a Cats fan especially with your two guns, Danger and Cameron, not really in the hunt at all today. But of course, the Maxi Holmes, though, 40 touches, fantastic, as he always is. I tell you what, you're starting to become an elite player there for the Cats. Very dangerous. Always polls high, always does well, Maxi Holmes there for the Catters. You don't reckon GWS going out? Yeah, I don't know. I tell you what, it's going to be interesting, Carly. It's going to be interesting over the next, let's see how we go another 4 to 6 weeks. And then I think the top 8 should be just about starting to take shape. Especially, I would imagine the top 4, because next week's game for these teams, the Gold Coast Suns, they've got a bye next week, and of course, Geelong. Well, guess who Geelong's playing next week? Geelong are playing Essendon next week at the MCG. That should be a fantastic game. That's next Saturday, 4:15 p.m. But everyone would expect Geelong would win that game. Of course, Brisbane play Geelong. Actually, Brisbane play the Giants next week. So if the Giants lose tonight's game, they could certainly be out of contention, out of the top 8 anyway. Hey, folks, seems like a weak top 8 this year. It's the same thing though, isn't it? You've got your first few sides up top battling it out, which are pretty genuinely the pretty good sides. Adelaide still holding on, still going okay as Geelong. Like Adelaide, Geelong, there's still possibilities of change. As I said, I think the top 2 are cemented. I think Collingwood, Brisbane will definitely be there. I think you just don't know from third to maybe 9th. That could all change. That could all change in the coming weeks. I think they're all reasonably even on their day. I think they're all reasonably even matched. 3 down to 9, but I think the top 2 will probably cement their spot as 1, 2 at the end of the year. It just seems like that. Brisbane would want to improve as well. They're not playing at their best football, and of course, don't forget, it's going to be a team that's reasonably injury-free too. That get into the big dance at the end of the year. That can manage that as well to get there. But a fascinating second half of the season on the way. Round 13, of course, we're up to now. But for this game, folks, thanks everyone for coming in. Maybe North come in 8th. Oh, no chance in the world. No chance in the world. North will come in. I think North Melbourne are definitely still a year or 2 away, a little bit like the Tigers a year or 2 away before they start to really assert themselves on there. I think that North Melbourne's still just lacking something, whereas I think even the Tigers, who got, they played a good opening quarter today and got pummeled in the final 3 quarters. I think they got a good future, the Tigers. Just add a couple more senior players in there. I think that's all they need. The Tigers. So the Eagles might have a chance. Definitely at the wooden spoon. That's for sure. The Eagles is pretty strong at the moment. The Eagles are very strong at the moment because they're sitting down there in 18th position. They're holding up everyone. So they're pretty strong. The Eagles. Shut up. My gosh, the sense of humor. Just never goes away, does it? Hey, you got to have a sense of humor. Hey, folks, that's enough for me talking. I'm out of here for this game. Thanks everyone for tuning in to this game. The Geelong Cats taking on the Gold Coast Suns. Shut up, Tine, the famous Tine. Now I lost track of thought. There we go. It was the Cats by 24 points on a wet, rainy day down at GMHBA Stadium down there in Geelong. Wow, we got through another one. Hey, if you want to tune in, who's stronger more? West Coast Eagles. They're on the bottom of the ladder. So that's what we say. They're always strong if they're on the bottom of the ladder because they're holding the other 17 teams up. Dibba, understand? Don't forget the next game, folks. Hey, geez, the next game starts in 10 minutes. I've got to get out of this game and get over and organise the next game. So, hey, if you want to check the next game out, you can check it out. Come over to my live, or if you want to, make sure you pop on over to Game Board and say hello over there to Tina. She's quite famous and she's a good friend of all of ours. So It's always appreciated. Even if you just drop over there for a few minutes, say g'day, give her a like over there on her footy stuff as well. Be appreciated. But that's it for me on this one, folks. Hey, thanks everyone tuning in on this one. As I said, if you want to catch up with the next game, GWS Giants taking the Port Adelaide, that's going to be a fascinating game. Should be a good game. It'd be just interesting to see whether Port can actually do something or the Giants continue on their merry way and sustain that spot in the top 8. Should be pretty interesting. All right, folks, I'm over and out. Ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game. I've got to get on to the next one. We'll see you there.